That was a lot of fun. We didn't talk about it, how you guys met online, and neither of us have met you before, and I had no idea you were coming.
And how I just walked into this guy's basement.
Shout out to you for walking into a strange man's basement.
Do you have any other
like socials or anything to shout out?
Yeah. I really gotta pee, so we're gonna have to come back to this because I gotta go pee.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Understood.
Yeah.
You all right, big fella? Yeah, I know, catching a crap.
Go ahead, keep talking, Chuck.
Yeah, we on TV.
I know what we're doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's that. Hey, listen, he couldn't hold it. He can't hold it. After 40, he can't hold it. Don't worry.
Before we get to the video, please like, comment, subscribe, share it to that uncle who's a communist. And if he isn't, he will be.
Don't forget to follow us on Patreon at patreon.com/revolutionaryrhetoric. And Revolutionary Rhetoric is an affiliate of the Anti-Capitalist Podcast Network.
All right, let's get to the video.
Pretty like dark stuff.
Those are human beings.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about last time. It's like, yeah sure. If you stop doing
that's devoid of empathy.
You start doing mutual aid, yes, things will get worse faster, and your revolution may soon come, but you lost the whole point of Marxism, which is just humanity.
You lost the point of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of people online and honestly sometimes offline really do lose that.
Yeah, lose that empathy side of things.
Yeah,
it's like you can't be a Marxist without being like altruistic and empathetic, and
exactly.
That's okay. Anyway,
I mean,
we
like,
can cut back in now, but we can't because there's You want to do the clap thing? Nice. Cool. So punk scene in Seattle is pretty good, huh?
Yeah, punk scene.
That used to be my jam. That was like I grew up in punk scene in Tucson, Arizona, and like in punk bands. I was in a touring ska band for a while.
Nice.
So like I'm a big fan, and I haven't been to any kind of like punk shows. I saw Alkaline Trio here at this Showbox Soto not that long ago, and that was cool. And a band called Drug Church, who I'd never heard of, but I liked a lot.
Drug Church is sick.
They're so sick. They're like Alkaline Trio is my favorite band, and so that's why I went. And I'd never heard of Drug Church, and the band that opened was really cool too. And I wish I remember their name because they were cool. It was like a queer pop punk band. They were super cool.
Nice.
And anyway, Drug Church stole the show for me. I was like, dude, that was so sick.
Yeah.
And then Alkaline Trio was fine, but I've seen them a bunch, so
yeah,
it was whatever.
Well, like we can say, big shout out to Real Art Tacoma. That is a 501c4 or something, or C3 venue that all ages.
Oh, cool.
And stuff. So that place is super sick. Tom Long.
What's it called?
Real Art
Tacoma.
Okay. Used to be the Viaduct.
Okay, I assume it's in Tacoma.
Yeah, in Tacoma, yeah. Shout out to Black Lodge, Fair Project, Ballard VFW. We can hold shows there, old school stuff. So they're local.
Like the VFW like hall?
Yeah.
That's sick.
We're able to rent it out. Yeah, as long as no one that works at the VFW is there when I start saying shit into the microphone.
Sure.
But the punk scene is the local punk scene. Like when bigger bands come through, like you get the big mass audience, but I would say like the real hardcore punk scene is local bands and stuff. Yeah. So and it's so diverse musically too. Like there are death metal bands playing with hardcore bands and metalcore bands like my band and stuff, and it's a good time.
I was gonna ask, what's the genre of your band? Is you more metalcore?
We just say metalcore, but good mix of like Under Oath, Limp Bizkit, Slipknot, like a little bit of like Vane influence and stuff.
I've been rediscovering Under Oath because that was like my high school. Because I'm 10 years older than you, so my high school was like 2002 to 2003 to 2007, and that was like peak My Chem, like Under Oath, Fall Out Boy. So it was like 10. It was that like emo screamo, like the mall emo, the third wave of emo, whatever you want to call it. That was like my jam in high school.
See, what probably surprising to you is my whole friend group is in their mid 30s. So I like to listen to like 18 Visions.
Yep.
Of course, I'm blanking now because I'm in front of the camera, but older stuff. Old Acacia Strain.
I've been rediscovering like older emo too. There's this like brain rot Instagram account that like talks about emo. It's like emo historian stuff basically. And they have like a whole bunch of Spotify playlists, and it's like the first, second, third, fourth wave of emo, and it like breaks them down and delineates it, like what's the difference between mid-ice emo and like third wave emo and like mall emo, whatever.
What's that, like that copy pasta? Like,
it's basically that shit.
Fake emos.
Yeah, and it's just like it goes against that. It's like there's no such thing as fake emo, and it's like what you like, and it's like a pretty cool like accepting and inclusive thing. But it like has all these playlists of like, well, if you like this, if you like this, if you like this. So I've been going through all the Spotify playlist and like listening to like the beginner emo playlist of like, because I missed a lot of that stuff like Starting Line and Sunny Day Real Estate and like kind of the older, like this is like 90s, you know, emo. So like 90s pop punk emo scenes.
I really just don't know much about emo, man.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know why I went off on an emo tangent. I started this conversation by saying I grew up in a punk scene, and then I said that my favorite band was Alkaline Trio, which is like not necessarily a punk band, and then I started talking about emo and Underoath. So like I've lost all credibility from the punks.
Yeah, plus the main contradiction of being an Underoath fan is that they were a Christian band.
They were a super Christian band, yeah. Dude, they're still so good though.
There were some good Christian bands though.
I just saw Switchfoot, which was like, I'm pretty sure they're a Christian band, and like I forgot how much Switchfoot rocks. And this is like, it's like butt rock, like yacht rock from the like early 2000s. If you've never heard Switchfoot,
Christian yacht rock,
but like Christian yacht rock. I think Switchfoot might actually be Christian.
Christian band I know is Creed.
Yeah, that's a different thing. That's a whole different thing. Yeah. Anyway, cool. Right on. I'll have to come to one of your shows. You said you had a show?
We're having one tomorrow night.
Oh yeah. Are you comfortable like we're revealing that information?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this won't be out by then, so it doesn't matter, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess I'll talk about the one on the 25th
of May.
Of May. Yeah. So that'll be at the Ballard VFW Hall. We were playing with Trial, which is an old school hardcore band from Seattle.
Okay.
And I am in Kaizo. Lilith is also playing, and then Cherub Chains, and there's one other band. I'm really sorry when you hear this that I'm forgetting about, but it should be a big one, so make sure you get there early.
And that's May 25th?
May 25th, yeah. I'll text you guys the flyer when we're done, yeah, or we can even throw it up on screen if you think this is going to come out first, but...
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this will come out first.
So this will come out for the 25th. Yeah, I'll get this edited this weekend for the audio version, but
I'll get this out on Sunday. My wife is gone, so I'll have like a bunch of extra time to myself.
Oh yeah, where's she?
Nice.
She went to her family home in Eastern Washington.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm just trying to pull up a calendar. What day is the 25th? You know what
Sunday,
day that is?
but
it's a Sunday.
But the next day is like Memorial Day.
Oh, that's Memorial Day weekend. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right on. I'll try to make that. I think I can make that.
Yeah, it'd be super sick.
And it's in Ballard, I assume?
Yeah.
I don't know where the Ballard VFW is, but I'll Google it. I'm sure it's around somewhere.
It's on
so if you're in the Seattle area, Northwest Seattle, go check it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're anywhere in the Pacific Northwest, really, and you're bored.
Yeah, we have a bunch of Portland and Seattle listeners. Come to the
Sometimes
Ballard
I'll be
VFW.
bored with my wife or with my friends. We're like, let's go to Portland. Screw it.
Well,
Portland's cool.
all ages show?
All ages show. Yeah.
$5, $10?
I think it's 15, and then
damn, bro.
Rojos Mexican food.
Thanks, Obama.
They used to be like $7 when I was a teenager.
Yeah, $5. We used to go to Scrappy's, which is a 501c3 like all ages punk venue in Tucson, Arizona. It was $5 for a show.
I know about Scrappy's. Yeah.
You know about Scrappy's?
Yeah, I've heard of Scrappy's.
Oh shit. Okay, that's where I grew up. Was
Okay.
Scrappy's. Yeah.
All right. Word. Yeah. But yeah, and then Rojos Mexican food will be slinging vegan Mexican food in the back.
Cool.
I'll be slinging prop somewhere probably. So yeah, it'll be a good time.
Have you heard about Scrappy's? That's blowing my mind. That's a local punk venue in Tucson, Arizona, which is like does not have a lot of like, you know.
Well, I love small bands.
Okay.
I've probably seen a flyer or something. I've never played Tucson specifically, but you just hear about places like I've. Of course, I'm blanking, but like somebody mentioned something to me yesterday.
Yeah,
about
I think
being
Scrappy's
in Denver,
has like
but
you know a certain gravitas to it, and like the
name's
kinda
super.
underground.
The name's super awesome too. Scrappy's.
Yeah,
That's so
Scrappy's.
sick,
Yeah, it's moved a couple places, but it's not its original location where it started. There was a shooting, I think, a long time ago. One of the FSU like there's like the hardcore like the picking up change hardcore guys, like you know like the.
It's crazy that you just mentioned FSU. That's insane.
There was an FSU guy shot another guy.
Yeah.
You know I'm talking about, those old hardcore guys?
Yeah.
So this was like in 2005 or something. So
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, like we play hardcore as like the fallout from all that and how it's gotten better and stuff. But yeah,
yeah. I don't know what the hardcore scene like that's anymore. I haven't like been to like a Bane show in 20 years, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, I don't know what the hardcore scene's like anymore. I'm an old man now. I haven't been to any of these shows.
Well, come check it out. Definitely come check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to my roots, man. Because I'm serious. This was like all I did every day was I would smoke cigarettes outside of Scrappy's and watch like hardcore and punk bands, and that's like from when I was like 15 to like 25. That's all I did.
Yeah.
But that was literally more than 20 years ago.
14 to 19. That was my life too.
Well, I'm 36, so that was 21 years ago.
Next month.
Yeah,
Less than a month.
I turned 37 in a couple months.
My God.
I'm an old man. No, I don't want to think about it, man.
Time to retire.
Yeah, I guess. Dude,
where are your grandkids at, bro?
Yeah, right. I don't have any kids. I don't want kids. I got like 20 pets. That's all I need. I have 100 ninth graders in my classroom.
Pets. Yeah, pets definitely.
I have dude, I have turtles and guinea pigs and tarantula and hamsters and 4 dogs. And
so I'm gonna have to
tortoise.
see some of those on the way out.
They're all up there. They're all up. You passed them all on the way in. That's why it smells so funky up there.
Word makes sense. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to get back to the Communist Party, the Marxist Party.
APL. I want to talk about this too.
I've never even heard of APL.
I hadn't
Yeah,
either.
that's not. I'm not insulted to hear that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it though.
Well, yeah. Can I mention? We didn't introduce you at all, by the way. We just started talking. It's like people came in the middle
Woke
of the
Stalin,
conversation.
aka Mira King.
Yeah,
American
we'll have all
Party
the
of
links.
Labor.
We'll have all the links, everything in the description below. But yeah, we're joined Mira. They, them, she, her pronouns.
Yeah, she, her, they, them. Yeah.
She, her, they, them. And in a metalcore band called Kaizo, which you've just heard about. I don't know why I'm re-introing this thing now, but it's fine. And yeah, you're a member of APL, which is what does APL stand for?
American Party of Labor.
American Party of Labor.
Yeah.
Did they run a candidate in a Seattle citywide election?
No.
Because there were a bunch of parties I had never heard of that were running. I was looking through like the booklet you get, that big like
yeah,
book,
the
and there were
voters thing.
so
Yeah.
many different like parties that I'd never heard of that all had like labor in the name, but I'd never heard of any of the parties.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most of them were like Trotskyist organizations, from what I
It's
know.
always the Trots.
Yeah. No, there were definitely like trots that were running for statewide and citywide and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
that wasn't any of the APL.
No, nothing to do
Okay.
with
Yeah.
the
Do you want
APL.
to speak on the APL a little bit?
Yeah. So we're the American Party of Labor. We are an anti-revisionist, or not going to beat the Hojaist allegations there in the slightest. Marxist-Stalinist organization. Kind of do the same thing as every other proto-vanguard. I mean, our analysis is different on various questions, but still looking to organize the working class around a Marxist-Leninist vanguard and hopefully work our way to revolution one day.
Yeah. Can I ask what's the what's your party platform, or what's pillars of your party? Is it based around more educationals or mutual aid or outreach, or what's the kind of, or agitprop, or what's your kind of
Revolution.
What's your
what's
your
my
band?
a lot of us we don't have a regimented organizing program like a lot of the more prominent or bigger nice beer crack proto vanguards will have.
Try to get it 4 ways.
No, it's all good. All of us look to address kind of what's going on to us locally.
Yeah.
So people in Florida may be building, mass independent labor unions to get away from the labor aristocracy, labor unions that we have in the U.S. who are just taken over by opportunists. Other people may be, mobilizing just their masses around businesses that are doing bad things to the environment in their local area. And as the comrades hear this, I know you guys will recognize who I'm talking about when I say these things. Or up here we have a lot of interesting contradictions locally to the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a very, very diverse population. We have a very, very big Filipino population, a very, 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 very big Latin American population.
East Africans.
East Africans as well, yeah. And then we also have military bases and naval bases everywhere, right? So the anti-war movement here, and along with Boeing and stuff like that. So a lot of the anti-war movement is centered around Seattle, like the UW campus and stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out to Resist US-Led War. Join that organization.
I think I follow them on Instagram, right?
Yeah, they're one of the ILPS orgs. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're great people, great praxis.
Yeah.
Definitely something to get involved with. But there are outerline communities in Washington that also have naval installations and military installations that really, really aren't addressed a lot by the big style like Seattle activism that we're used to, and we all go to stuff like that all the time as well. But so Everett, Washington has a naval installation that's getting $37 billion from the federal government for some new boats for, I don't know, the pivot to the Pacific War movement. Or down south you have Joint Base Lewis McChord, that kind of thing. So I'm in the planning stages and stuff, working on some actions, teach-ins, educationals around fascism, around anti-militarism, around what militarism is, that sort of thing. And
Just
Fair enough.
good party stuff.
yeah.
Good practice.
But everyone in the APL is, I would say, is at in positioned within or even at the head of, in some cases, like various mass organizations and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, we have like a lot of people as member orgs of Resist US at War. There are a lot of APL members that are working in the research committees and the planning committees and stuff like that. We did the Cancel Room Pack stuff last year and stuff. So that's just definitely scratching the surface.
Sure, like kind of a loose overview. That's
Yeah.
cool though. That's great.
When did the Seattle chapter or
Yeah, how much
start?
national presence does the APL have?
I would say just like as an OPSEC thing, we don't talk about exact numbers, of course, but like we are present, I'd say like 80% of the states, not so much in the middle of nowhere, although shout out to some of you out in the middle of nowhere. You guys are doing great. But
there's like 3 comrades in Wyoming just holding the torch.
Yeah, exactly. You just gotta have like 3 random people in some random area.
3 Marxist cowboys.
Well, there was the
in
the CPOSA National Convention. There was like this delegation from Louisiana. And there was like 4 guys, and I was like, dude, sick.
Absolutely.
Just cool to see comrades coming out of like a deep red state and just
yeah, especially places like places just swamped in reaction like Florida and like the Deep South, like that, like seeing comrades come out of there, it almost makes more sense, like you'd
be more radicalized, right?
yeah, exactly, versus somewhere like Seattle. You're going up here, like a lot of the activism is definitely like left lib, red lib, that kind of stuff going on, and we'll get there, but coming out of the Deep South like that, where it's just extremely reactionary, all sorts of bad history to contend with there and that kind of stuff, like you definitely get some militancy out of Marxists that come out of those areas.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How long's the branch here been going on?
Been operating in Seattle for?
Yeah. Well, so we do a PNW branch.
Okay.
Because we collaborate all the time between Portland and all the other areas that are encompassed. I would say just at the beginning of the pandemic is when the APL started to spread out here. Yeah.
So APL is kind of newer in general.
Yeah. I mean, APL was like first founded in 2008.
Oh,
and
okay.
then
It's really new then.
Yeah, and then got to its current iteration in 2016.
Okay,
got it.
So it's been chugging along for a while then.
Yeah, we've been chugging along. A lot of growth recently.
Cool.
A lot of cool stuff happening.
Awesome.
A lot of cool projects, etc. Yeah.
Have you ever been involved in any other parties prior to that? Like, was that your first foray into like organized?
Yeah, that was my first foray. I wasn't even a Marxist-Leninist when I applied.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll tie this back to music too. It's just a friend of mine in the music scene. He's just known to be the Stalinist, and getting to talking with him and stuff. He swayed me away from my former anarchist ways, and
good man,
said, "I think you should apply for this organization." And I was like, "Okay." I mean, I've read like the manifesto and then like the first little bit of Diamat by Stalin. It's like, I'll give it a shot, and yeah, here I am.
Is this a man still around with us today?
The guy is still around. Is that upside down? Oh, that's right. Yep. Dialectical and historical materialism.
I read that this week in preparation for this.
My favorite part about that book is part of my background will say I'm a mechanic with thermodynamic characteristics. Okay. But the water steam analogy that he uses for quantitative and qualitative changes was what really got me in that book.
This is only the second Stalin I've read.
You have to pump up those numbers.
I know. But I'm always shocked at how much I like these writers. Excuse me. In particular Mao. Like every Mao book I read, the more and more Mao I read, it's just the more Mao I want to read because he's such a good writer. And it's the same with Stalin. Stalin's a good writer, and it's just you would just when you think of Stalin, you don't think of good prose or good, but reading Marx is kind of hard, right? It's just not fun.
He writes like Yoda.
Yeah, it's just not fun to read Marx, but it's fun to read Mao, and it's kind of fun.
They do.
Labor.
Expropriate their
labor. I don't know. He's just a cool writer. I mean, he's not I think Mao's the best. I think Mao just is poetic, and I don't know if this is vaguely racist, but he has that kind of just Eastern philosophy vibe to him, where his writing, it comes across in his writing, and it's just I don't know if that's me.
This is what are you talking about? Like Bruce Lee type of be the water, my friend.
But just quotations and stuff. It's just it's very poetic. It's more actual metaphors and poetry and alliteration and just imagery and stuff. Like
the man who tried to move the mountain and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and paper tigers and women hold up half the sky. It's just every Mao quote is poetic,
Yeah.
Marx doesn't have that poetry to him.
So it's symbolism and stuff like that. Versus Marx is.
But Stalin's good though. You should read some Stalin. It's good.
Stalin's really good.
Yeah.
Stalin, I think, the relevance and practical use of Stalin is he writes simply.
Yeah.
And I think that is going to be super, super key moving forward because America does have a literacy problem.
Oh, boy, don't they? Don't I know it?
And yeah, you as a teacher, definitely. I think things being put simply by Stalin is going to be key moving forward for this movement.
Just don't tell him it's by Stalin yet.
That's
the
for
key.
your
Just
class.
remove the thing. Well, I told him we talked about Mao recently because we moved on to Cold War after like the World Wars, and
Yeah.
we were talking about Mao, and like I don't hide my like sympathies with these kids. I mean, like I'm not like telling them, I'm not like indoctrinating them. I keep it fairly neutral. I keep it pretty ethical.
Yeah.
But I'm also like I don't like spout the same like Western like State Department lies that I think that like most history teachers are.
Yeah, like that, like
school just handing out.
Yeah,
Stalin,
but I was
little
talking
red
about
Stalin writings.
Here's some diamat.
Yeah,
you know,
well, I
like-
held
Oh my God.
I showed this picture of Mao, and it was like a bunch of people holding up the little red book, and then one of my students was like, "What are they holding?" And I explained like what the quotations from Chairman Mao was, and I was like, "It's beautiful writing. I have a copy if you want me to bring it in." And they were like, "Yeah, sure." So I brought a copy in, and they were like flipping through it. So like I literally brought in a copy of quotations from Chairman Mao.
Oh yeah, I have the same
my
copy
students,
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but like I'm like, yeah, like they made mistakes, Stalin and Mao, but like you take them. I mean, and that's like the dialectical materialist in me, right? Or the historical materialism is like you take them as they were doing what they thought best at a given time, and if a mistake was made and people died, that's not like they're not evil for it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I'm a Stalin apologist. I'm a Stalinist, so.
Oh, I am absolutely a Stalinist. Yeah, I'm woke Stalin.
Woke Stalinist.
Yes, yeah.
I just haven't read enough of Stalin,
I think of it more as like just a reactionary thing where like my opinion on Stalin doesn't matter. It's the fact that libs hate Stalin and not like Churchill or Leopold or whatever. And that's like the part that frustrates me. And we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
We talked about this years ago. This was like one of the first episodes we talked about Stalin a lot.
Yeah.
And I was talking about that. I was like, it doesn't even matter what I think about Stalin. That's irrelevant. But that you are so misinformed about Stalin is the real like problem here. It's not that
Yeah,
like it's
absolutely.
not what the truth doesn't matter, or at least I would argue the truth is what matters. Your version of the truth is what I'm like. When I say that I'm a Stalinist, I'm not saying that because I love Stalin. I'm saying it because I want to see your reaction, and then I want to have a conversation about it.
God.
Not to like troll them intentionally, but like
So you're a troll.
yeah, sort of.
So you're a troll. Okay, guys.
But that starts
I-
the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I'll like bamboozle them with that thing from 1920 where autonomy was granted to Dagestan, and be like, yeah, so this is something you can pull up in his archive, right? But I'll talk to people. It's like, the evil, godless commies actually granted autonomy to majority Muslim regions within the USSR, and also allowed them to continue to practice like Sharia law within their communities and stuff like that, because the Sharia was important to those people, and that's their autonomous republic. And they're like, no, I didn't know that. That's really cool. Like, that seems really, really progressive for the time. It's like, yeah, that was Stalin.
Stalin. Yeah, dick. Yeah, that's the thing is you just got to hit him with the info and then be like, oh, that was Fidel, or oh, that was Stalin, or oh, that was Ho Chi Minh, or whatever after the fact.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, mistakes were made. Like,
Sure.
the like this kind of change in society, it was the first time it was really, really ever attempted for longer than a couple months,
Yeah, but I hate the way that they look at those mistakes in a vacuum, and then like just like hone in on those, look at them in isolation, and then not account for anything else. Because like you
where's
can take
the
a look
accomplishments?
like that's exactly what I was saying. Like if you like, let's take Mao for example, because like arguably more people died in China than under Stalin, right? So like if you're talking about like death tolls from famine or from whatever, more Chinese died than Russians. So let's stick with Mao as the example, right? But after 49, the amount of like the quality of life, the literacy rate, the poverty rate, the homelessness, the healthcare, whatever, just skyrocketed. So there weren't millions dying every year for hundreds of years due to their like, mercantilism, later capitalism, whatever you would call like that empire, that like imperial China for 1,000, 2,000 years or whatever, right? 49 through present day China, yes, saw a spike in deaths with the failures of collectivized farming in China, but those deaths still pale in comparison to what they would have been under like their existing system from 49 to present.
Yeah,
it had it continued.
The life
right?
expectancy. Yeah, absolutely.
Just in life expectancy alone. So it's like, but where is that conversation, right?
Yeah.
So that's always my problem. Or how many Indians died under Churchill, and then like, well, that's more than Russians died under Stalin. I think the numbers are iffy, but you know what I mean. But no one ever mentions Churchill or Leopold in the Congo or Belgium or whatever.
A lot of that is just fucked because, we brought it back when we talked about it in an earlier episode. It's like the death toll that they always talk about.
Yeah.
Like in the Black Book of Communism, whatever. It's like what they considered deaths was absolutely absurd.
Well, they counted Nazis in the Eastern Front as deaths.
Not only did they count
victims of
Nazis,
communism,
yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, good.
But not only did they count Nazis, but they also counted abortions.
Or or unborn babies due to like the various declines and reclines of the birth rate and stuff like that.
Because of the famine.
Like extrapolating that data and then including that in
exactly.
death toll.
Yeah. Because this is like their thought is like if there was a famine in Ukraine, Kazakhstan, whatever, the birth rate declined by this much. So that birth rate decline caused this many babies to not be born, and that is death.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's just bad statistics. Even in a bourgeois sense, it's bad statistics.
Purposely forged statistics to make it look bad.
Well, I saw a meme like today
and that's why
on one of the Instagram channels. It was like, the so many number of deaths brought to you by the American Burger Society and the Goebbels Foundation.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, dude, like what the fuck? Like, that's the people who are making up these numbers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And like, I know that some amount of the authors of the Black Book have, said that like redacted their contributions to it.
Some of them have,
and said it was exaggerated, right? And like,
I think some of them even said that they were like pressured by like the State Department. Like some of them have said that it was like, I could be wrong here, but I'm conflating two different stories or misremembering something. But I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that like they had like pressure internally from like government agencies to like American federal agencies to nudge those numbers in the right direction.
Yeah, but you look at the statistics given in these things, that 10, 20, 100 billion, 150 billion dead, Stalin and Mao killed all of us, including you, me, and you. Yeah.
150 million dead.
We're all dead.
But
even wiped out half the population. Yes.
So here's one of my favorite things to reference is like a later Cold War census from the Soviet Union, where even after Khrushchev's de-Stalinization, Khrushchev, the guy who tried to destroy Stalin's legacy, didn't put this 20 million deaths in over this period. You still see this steady and exponential rise in population in the Soviet Union from 1917, like up to World War II, and like obviously there were the losses there, the like tragic but very, 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 very brave losses of the Red Army and the Soviet people during World War II. And then they jump right back in the seat after that. It just starts skyrocketing up again. Yeah, it was like in the 52. I think they actually breached like 200 million again, like following post World War II.
Yeah, I mean they had their own baby boom, same as America.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when people's needs were met.
People have kids when they have houses and.
Yeah, and then you can see is like, why is their birth rate so low? It's like, well, because nobody has the money to fucking support a child.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like American birth rates are like the lowest they've been in like 200 years or something.
Yeah, but also is the difference between the lower class and the like upper class. The two classes are now further and further divided, and the more divided they get, the lower the birth rate gets. And I was like, I wonder what the fuck that's from.
Yeah.
Right.
More and more wealth accumulating. Like the contradiction between the bourgeoisie and the working class in America is getting so steep. I mean, the petty bourgeoisie is vanishing in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
Small businesses, they only open to sell. Like that's the plan now, to open a small business. You open one to sell.
One day you'll be bought out.
Yeah, that one day you'll be bought out in the very, very near future, and then you try and do it again and whatever. But like,
or you coast off that money. You try to make enough that you can just live off that savings, and then
exactly.
Like, how is that? Again, I've referenced this before, but like it's this idea of infinite growth, because if you're not growing, if you're stagnant, you're declining, right? In the capitalist model, you have to grow or you sink.
Line has to go up. Yeah.
The line has to go up, so it's infinite growth with a world of finite resources. And it's just like that alone.
But it's not even long-term growth anymore. It's short-term growth.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to be infinitely grow from year to year, right? It's a slow, steady growth. But now it's like, how hard can we grow in the shortest amount of time? And that is the most destabilizing thing we could possibly fucking do.
Yeah.
Because we're throwing away anything that gets in the way, whether it be workers, whether it be the environment, whether it be, whatever, people's rights. They're like, it doesn't fucking matter. I want an extra 3% this quarter. If you don't, you're fucking fired or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah. And those rapid growths, I mean, like you said, those are what are making things so much worse for the working masses, right? Yeah. And pushing us closer and closer to this inevitable collapse that is coming. And they think that digital money is going to save them. It's insane. It's delusion. It's fucking delusional.
It's absolutely
This
delusional.
crypto stuff, the crypto stuff, it's doing very well. I see the numbers.
Wow.
Did you see the Trump watch?
Bust into Trump.
Did you see the Trump watch fiasco that just happened?
Trump watch?
The Trump watch, yeah, they're selling. Oh, did you see the Trump AR-15, dude?
No,
The Trump AR-15?
You just say Trump and just name any object.
Yeah,
and there's
no,
something
they're selling
with
Trump
it.
AR-15s that are like, it doesn't matter. It's
I am a resident of the state of Oregon. I need one. I'm a Washington resident.
It
Yeah, I
sucks to be a
cannot
Washington
get
resident. You can't buy
AR-15s.
an AR-15 anymore.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway. But
So-
anyway, yeah, they're overselling. They're overcharging. Like it's like a Daniel defense. It's a decent rifle, but it's like they're charging $29.99. They're charging $3,000 for it, and it's like $1,000 rifle. Anyway,
Of course.
the Trump watch. I guess they're shipped with it just says rump because the T's all fell off. I think, or at least some of the T's fell off because they're like pieces of shit. Because obviously, of course, they are. And it's just
Why
like
does- why
I don't
does he
know.
make
It's just that just like encapsulates that as just like the absolute just like grift of just like fast cash like product shit like that just like is just marked up. There's like $700 watches and they're like Timexes or whatever. It's like a $30 watch they sell for $700. It's like an $800 AR-15 they're selling for $3,000.
Do I even feel bad for these people?
I don't. I mean, I don't feel bad. Like I guess
don't
the
know.
one guy is like suing.
I feel like I don't know. I don't know what to say because I'm like if I say I don't feel bad, right? I just seem like a fucking piece of shit,
Yeah, you
right?
seem callous, but I mean,
But at the same time, it's just like, dude, how long has it been?
Yeah,
you
at
keep
this
falling
point-
for the crypto scam.
Yeah.
You fell for the
Yeah.
fucking whatever stickers, stamps he was selling.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you're falling for it, and you just
Yeah.
keep going back and sucking him off. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
at what point do we like, you know what, go for it, fucking just ruin your life?
Yeah, well, I mean, is this not our task?
Yeah.
Right? As Marxist-Leninists, like, is it not our task to immerse ourselves among the workers, among the working masses, and listen to them, but also try and steer them away
yeah.
from this crap, right? Because
Yeah.
like they're throwing like their livelihoods away for something that's going to fall apart. Or
trinkets.
There are some
Yeah.
people that are TFG. They're just too far gone.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
just like, you're wasting so much energy on these people when you should. There's like a person that is right before that you could sway over because that person before hates
Yeah.
the system.
I don't know if I agree with that though. Because we've talked about this before that like I think like MAGA people are easier to convert to communism than liberals because
Well, there are MAGA people that are
Yeah.
not too far gone. Too
Yeah.
far gone is like its own little fucking thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You'll never get
Like
me
my
to
mom
come
is
back
too far
to be a
gone.
fucking Democrat.
Yeah.
Right? I'd rather fucking die in a revolution than come join your fucking Democratic Party ever.
Yeah.
Right? I'm too far gone on the communist side. But that's because I'm well read.
Yeah.
Right? These people are the opposite. They're not well read enough. You can change a lot of those things, but these people are also narcissistic and have their heads up their ass. It's almost like those people that are really religious and there's nothing that you could say with facts or logic
Yeah.
that would get them to, deconvert or like look at their religion any other
Yeah.
way. It's just like
know.
I don't want to waste my time with these
I
people.
think that there's a
but the same-
radicalizing thing I think every one of those people has some kind of radicalizing
There-
event
there-
that could
there-
happen.
there-
Like
I think-
if they lost their
yeah.
house and if they lost their car and they lost their health insurance, whatever, and they like got bankrupt, I think they could be brought back. I think they could be
Yes,
shown.
Or
I'm not
like-
saying they can't. I'm saying the effort that you would spend to
Fair,
take
that's your
that
point,
one
yeah.
person
It's
back.
a-
I can get four.
To
of
use
these
a capitalist
people
term,
back.
it's like an ROI, like a return of investment.
yeah,
Like,
of,
how much-
of your time. Yeah,
Yeah.
of your time.
We only have a limited amount of time before societal collapse. So we need as many people on our side as fucking possible.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's my thinking. It's
Yeah.
like, yes, I would love to
No,
have
that's
all
fair.
these people back, right? But we have a short amount of time before the entire fucking planet burns to a crisp, before a fascist government takes over, before all these things. So we have to like specifically invest our time into certain people to bring them over, because eventually, if there is a fucking revolution, if there is a war, we want the more people on our side than we have to fight against. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've told the story before, but I think like the reason I have hope, maybe naively but the reason I have hope is when I sold guns at Cabela's. That was a job I had a long time ago. I was a gun salesman at Cabela's in Glendale, Arizona. Shout out to that Cabela's. If you're in Glendale, Arizona, go shout out to the people there at the gun counter. They're good guys. No, they're not. They're mostly pieces of shit, but that's fine. I was the only openly communist person there. But that was the thing too, is because on the Form 4, the ATF Form 4, when you go to buy a gun, it has male. It's kind of it's the government tried at the time, but they still failed. It says male, female, non-binary, and which is kind of a contradiction, but that's a separate conversation. Anyway, every fucking chud who came to buy a gun had a comment about that form. They would say something about the non-binary just being an option on the form.
Of course.
Yeah, and so but that allowed me to have the same conversation like 10 times a day with them, which is like I just kind of like came at it sideways from like a libertarian point of view. And I've told the story before, but like it's just like, like, yeah, what people do in their own time is like, it's their what business of mine, who what right do I have to say like how somebody should live their life or whatever. And if you come at it from like the libertarian side, you come at them from the right, basically, they're like, okay, you're fine. Yeah, they like kind of short circuit and they'll get it. And I've had like meaningful conversations because it takes like an hour or whatever to sell a gun. Like you have to be with this person for a while. So I've had meaningful conversations and I've been able to like de-radicalize or like bring people back because of that job, because I had those same conversations 10 times a day for like a year. Like I got pretty good at like navigating those conversations. It's the same type of people. They all had MAGA hats. They all had Trump gear. You know what I mean? That's like that. It's West Phoenix, Arizona, a Cabela's gun store. Like it's the clientele is exactly what you think it would be.
Yeah. And
like I had to have the same conversation with those people repeatedly. And I got like I found that like almost all of them could be walked back, and you could get them to see like if not like acceptance for like people that are different from them, at least like an understanding that like it's not their place to judge other people. So that was what gives me hope. But maybe I'm naive. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like those are also like part of the working class that we need to reach, not to jump into like the whole like MAGA communism like thing, God. But at the same time, like there are backwards workers, there are people without class consciousness in the workforce here at home. There are people with a lot of skewed views within the working class, and maybe some maybe too far gone. People who are meaningfully Nazis, I think, are too far gone, of course. But
that's what I'm saying.
Most
people
to be
converted to Nazis. Yeah, like, I rather just.
I'm not talking about Nazis. I'm just talking about like a Trump supporter.
Bleep that. I agree.
We'll have to bleep that one.
Face the wall. But anything, pretty much anything short of that is something is somebody that we should be trying to reach.
I think it's
at
worth
some
it.
point.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like you talk about everyone like what is it our business to dictate someone else's life like that, and then you talk about the economic thing is like why is some rich guy dictating your life, dictating your bills and stuff, and kind of get them to see
once you open that door a crack, you can get in, and they have all the same. And we've had this conversation before too, is that it's like even with QAnon people, like they have the exact same arguments as a Marxist up until they blame the Jews, right? It's like up until that very last point.
They're all taken from us.
It's like it's like there's the deep state is like it's it's this oligarchy that runs our life. It's this like secret society of rich people that are making everybody poor. It's the Jews, and it's like, dude, you were so close to reaching class consciousness.
Do I have the book for you?
Yeah, and it's just like if you can just bring them back from that final step, they get it, and like they understand that the world is fucked up, and like that's where like the whole Tea Party thing happened after Obama, or during like the it's like people are unhappy, and that's where like most Trump supporters in his first term were like disillusioned liberals and like Obama supporters, because people are unhappy and they just don't have the literacy or like the knowledge base to know where to direct that anger.
Or the guidance.
Yeah. And so like they just directed it at the easiest thing, and for what it's worth, right-wing grifters are better at that, like about catching people. Well, that's true too. But I mean, like once you're an adult, like the right-wing grifting, like that griftosphere is like of like the Ben Shapiro's and the Dave Rubins or whatever, they're better and they're more popular at like collecting those people and bringing them over.
Yeah. And they're better equipped.
Yeah,
too.
They're just better equipped, they're better funded.
Money.
Yeah, 100%. So like it's not that these people I think are too far gone or that they're not capable of like being redirected back. It's just that there is no like Ben Shapiro of the left. It's like I guess Hassan Piker is like the closest you have, right?
my boy like, Hassan.
Yeah, but like that's my point, right? Is like the D program and Hassan is like it. You know what I mean?
There's only so much one Turkish man can do.
Yeah, right. So it's like, so I don't agree that they're too far gone. I think that all of those people, and I only say that because I've had those conversations. Yeah. And so like firsthand, I've seen that. And also like I brought this up last week when we were talking about mutual aid, is like, there's guys out there, the unhoused community in here in like East Seattle or whatever, that it's like, they are like right wing or like, Trump supporters or whatever, and they're homeless, and it's like once they find out we're communists, we're able to have that conversation, and they like we can kind of steer them back to like, yeah, this is just like what communists do, man. And like,
I just love telling people I'm communist, It's kind of just I love to see their
I'm really open about it. Yeah, most of my coworkers know. I
literally have it tattooed on
my
nice.
Most of my coworkers know now. Yeah, a couple shout out to some of my teachers who are going to be listening to this. My fellow coworkers. So,
well, I don't know if they can see it, if the viewers can see it, but there's the APL grain and gear on my forehead.
Oh, cool.
If I have a hat on, it's this one.
It's APL,
and it's a good little combo starter too. I mean, like, hey, what's that symbol? Is that like a video game? It's like, well,
No, but
No. You ready for a good conversation though?
yeah, you ready to get
You
into
ever heard
my
of
Yugo
Karl
gear.
Marx?
Yugo hat, dude?
Yeah.
I don't wear any
Yugo
cool
beanie?
gear. I mean Rainier, I guess, but that doesn't count.
Yeah.
I got my Yugo beanie on. I actually got my wife just recently got this denim jacket that she thrifted for me.
Yeah.
And it looks dope as fuck, right? And I'm like, oh man. She's like, we got to put some like patches on
Patch
there.
it up. Patch
And
it up.
I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so she has like 9 patches, but I'm like, you know what would look better on this? Some commie shit. And so I just ordered like 4 different commie things. I ordered the Yugoslavian flag.
Mm-hmm.
I ordered a little patch that has Workers of the World Unite and the hammer and
Nice.
sickle.
Yeah.
Nice.
I bought I can't remember what else I bought. Oh, and I also bought I ordered custom patches for of our podcast logo.
What? Really?
Yeah, 10 of them.
Oh, sick.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
we-
like
we've been
35
talking about
bucks.
getting merch. Really?
Yeah.
That's
So
super cheap.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you guys got to get on the merch.
We've been talking about
Yeah.
getting like stickers or hats or something.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I was gonna give these out for free.
Nice.
You know, just because you gotta
Spread the seed.
exactly. I'm not gonna charge people.
Wait, that sounds
Hey,
weird.
yo.
That sounds Elon Musk. Yeah, that sounds a little too Elon Musk.
USA.
Oh, speaking of Elon Musk, we got to talk about this whole Grok South African thing.
Oh my god.
Twitter
Because
in
you
general.
hadn't heard this,
We
right?
gotta-
Twitter in general.
We
Well,
gotta-
let's hear this.
Yeah, because you hadn't heard about this, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so you know how like the only refugees that America has admitted in the last like I don't know how many months or whatever under Trump were white South Afrikaners, right? It was
No, I did not know.
You didn't know about that. Okay, so well, let me back up then.
Christ.
The only refugees to be admitted in this country are I think it was 59 Afrikaners, white
That's
Dutch
wrong.
South Africans.
That's not right.
Real crackers.
Yeah.
That's not right because they're not considered refugees.
Well, that's what that's what they're claiming. So this is where they're coming from. They're claiming refugee status, and apparently it's because it's from, and I could be wrong on my facts here, but it's from like a law that was passed post-apartheid, like post-91 or whenever, and Mandela was elected president. They enacted a law where if they could prove that land was taken from black South Africans to white South Africans, that they could basically like get reparations and get that land back. It has never once, as far as I am aware, it has never once been enacted. There is zero facts or there's zero evidence that any white person has ever lost any kind of land back to a black South African. But apparently the white South Africans are claiming like oppression and fear for their like property and lives, and there's this claim of white genocide is taking place among white South Africans. So then 59 of them have claimed refugee status and came to America. And this is what's happened. And so now there are like, and if like I don't want to like body shame anybody, but like they're all like obese white people, and then so like that was some of the captions, and like some of these like things are like, these are not like starving refugees, these are not like, none of these people are in any way shape or form have ever been like in any danger. And they're just like it's the same argument you see from like Zionists of like just like the crying wolf or whatever. Anyway, somebody said something on Twitter about like there is no genocide in South Africa, or there's no white genocide in South Africa taking place. And then Elon Musk said like, Grok, is this true or something? Because you can just like you can tag at Grok or whatever. Grok.
Yeah,
is
I've
it
seen
Gronk
that.
or Grok?
Grok. Yeah. It's
I'm not
Grok.
on Twitter, so I don't know. I only see screenshots on Instagram 3 to 5 days later. So like I'm only on, you know what I mean? I'm a boomer when it comes to this shit. Anyway, long story short, let me wrap this up. He says Grok is true, and it says no, and then Grok's like, no, there is no white genocide, and it's like, it's basically just like it's an accurate kind of retelling of like where this misinformation is coming from. So Elon Musk went into like the coding of Grok to try to change that to make it forcefully say that yes, there is a white genocide in South Africa. However, he like fucked up the code, or whomever did it fucked up the code. So now anytime you ask Grok anything about anything, it's like, hey Grok, is this recipe right? And it's like, I can't really speak that recipe, but the genocide in South Africa is this. And so like no matter what you tag at Grok, he just starts talking about South African genocide.
Yeah, I mean that's
I've
gone now too.
I've seen,
but yeah.
they fixed it.
Yeah, they fixed that. So like
I've seen all the screenshots of like everybody asking anything about anything to Grok, and it just starts rambling about South African genocide, and it's just
hilarious.
so funny. And it's just like it proves to you that Elon Musk like is meddling with it. To
Absolutely.
like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you saying? So they fixed that.
Yeah, they fixed that, but like a lot of the answers I've seen of Grok on Twitter lately have been kind of like some kind of like it's like voiced, I guess, really casually and stuff like that. Like, hey, like we shouldn't talk about that kind of stuff or whatever. Like, and I'm like, what the fuck happened to this thing? Like, what did they do? Yeah, what did they do? But I did see a screenshot of like, it like unrolled a thread in like a picture where it was just like all of these Grok things that were removed posts. Like the author has removed this post. So like a lot of other stuff that Grok said got redacted by that. And it's just like, it's 21st century book burning kind of shit going on.
Yeah, it's like there's so much to unpack there because there's so many layers of different levels of stupid and malicious and kind of like, don't know, darkness to that too, because it's like on the one hand is like everything Elon Musk touches is dumb. He's like a dumb Midas, so it's like everything he touches turns to poop. And then on the other hand, though, it's like this is like just blatant evidence that he is like totally manipulating his own like what is supposed to be an impartial AI. Well, I mean, you can that's like kind of an oxymoron, right? An impartial AI, but let me try to like collect where I'm at. I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore. But like he's just manipulating his own AI to just like serve his own means, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like that kind of like fundamentally removes any like integrity that system would have ever had, right? And like not that like an AI is supposed to have integrity to begin with, but it kind of is, right? That's the whole point. It's like ChatGPT and these different AI models are supposed to be like impartial, or like, you know, you're supposed to be able to like ask it a question, it's supposed to be able to give you an answer, and it has bias because it's pulling from the internet, but it's not. There isn't some person behind the scenes, Wizard of Oz style, manipulating its answers.
With their own prejudices,
with their own specific coded prejudices, right? Like it has its own like racial biases because it's pulled from like a Western hegemony, like internet,
hegemonic,
right?
hegemonic.
Yeah,
hegemonic.
Yeah, like that's what it's pulling from.
Imagine like a fucking AI system that is super ableist,
or like a black nationalist AI. Like, that would be kind of based.
Malcolm X,
Malcolm X AI.
What's his name? Marcus Garvey.
Brock,
like,
is this true?
AI,
Shut up, boy.
There is an anti-revisionist GPT out there, like a Hojaist GPT out there.
I'll have to look into that.
I'll have to ask one of my internet Twitter followers.
Is it killing as many trees as these other ones are?
Probably not. I think it's hosted by some dork.
Yeah,
with like his own server rack in his house.
It's not even It's not even a GPT.
Comintern SH.
It's like a question put out, and he's immediately just sitting there.
Just
with
some
cigarette.
guy, just some Turkish guy smoking.
Oh yeah, he's
some Albanian with a cigarette just in his mouth, just typing back.
Yeah,
You think it's an AI? He's just a super fast typer.
Or like, you know, all of the responses are all of Yugoslavia will be ablaze. Just everything. Because Hoja did say that.
Oh my god.
During the beef.
Yeah, I don't know.
Beef settled though.
I
Beef
try not
settled.
to use AI, but I got to be honest. I use AI in my teaching life. I just have to. I don't have to, but
anytime you Google anything, it uses AI.
Yeah, I mean,
well, no, but I mean, I use.
You don't even have a choice anymore.
Yeah, I have a ChatGPT for account our school does or whatever. So I uploaded all of my like World War I, World War II, and Cold War sources that we use in my classroom, and I was like, "Hey, ChatGPT, can you make me like a 20-question quiz based on these sources?" And it gave me like a really good test, and then I had to like edit it a little bit because some of it was like a little wonky, but like I was like, oh, okay, that did like the job in 30 seconds. It would have taken me a couple hours.
If you were ever to make an AI, that's what it should be used for.
Yeah.
Making your life, the worker's life easier.
Just gonna say that, yeah, automation should be granted. The benefits of automation should be granted to the working class.
Yeah,
AI, PLC controllers, etc. for like industrial production, this kind of thing.
Yeah,
these things should be granted to the working class. It never will be under the capitalist mode of production, though.
Yeah,
that is the pain of it, because AI could be something that's absolutely beautiful for working
people.
What
was that famous quote, right? Like, I want AI to do my laundry and dishes so I can make art, not my AI can make arts so I can make laundry and dishes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I butchered that quote, but like that's the sentiment, right? It's like,
I get it totally. Yeah.
The whole point is the robot is supposed to do your work, and over here we're having people take AI images, and I'm fucking slaving,
making movies and shit. Yeah,
they're working 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So if as a public school teacher in America, if I can shave 2 hours for making a test like that, like I'm going to, and I won't apologize for it.
Supported. As with all the hot takes about AI out there, I don't even think the leftist of leftcom can say that is a bad thing.
Am I wrong for that?
Or whatever the most petty bourgeois person out there could, whoever is going to have a problem with it, which will be both sides.
That was literally Karl Marx. Karl Marx always talks about eventually machinery will come to a point where it will outpace workers, right? Mm-hmm. And the point at that point is to use the machinery for the workers, and so the workers have more leisure time to do what they love: hunting, fishing, fucking. I don't know, but it's supposed to be
developing culture, true culture, working culture.
Exactly, and so that's the whole point. And so it's like, AI is not literally a bad thing, but the way it's been developed and what it's been used for is not really. It's been very superficial. It's not for the best things.
And the infrastructure around it is a little, some of the environmental impacts of it are bad, but that's the like a deep infusion or whatever AI art.
Yeah.
Shit, and that stuff.
Because that shit is super like processor intensive, and it just requires so much like back end.
Yeah,
power.
Exactly. But text
like
answers.
Text is like kilobytes. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So things like that, getting a test made for you, like that's chill.
It's really good for like I will say like in the realm of education, not to get like too specific to education, but like it is really handy. Like it makes rubrics.
Both of us got beer burps.
Yeah, it's like it can make rubrics. It can make like, you know, you can like create like different kind of like, I don't know. It's really handy for shit like that. For like in the education world, it's really good at just spitting out like the random shit that a teacher needs day to day, and it's just like you know, that used to take hours to make. Now it's
exactly.
Seconds, yeah.
That shit's cool. Now AI art sucks.
Yeah,
and not for the like, oh, it takes away jobs and blah blah, blah whatever. Right? No, that stuff just sucks.
Yeah, it also
you
just
can
looks bad.
tell. Yeah, it looks bad.
Like,
although I will say, and again, let me be the guy who uses AI for art. We used it for shit. My spouse's we'll bleep that. My spouse wanted a tattoo, and we were like, we put in like a couple prompts into ChatGPT to like bust out this cool slug boy tattoo, and then it had like an idea, but then took that image and was like, this is what I'm thinking, to an artist, and was like, can you just remake this and make it better? And then the actual tattoo artist made it 1,000 times better. But like, it was good to get like, because if you can like describe something, you can kind of like visualize it and see it, and like that's cool to like get a rough draft of something. But I've only ever used ChatGPT as like a super rough draft of like, I would never, first of all, I'd never trust it to like, it's if you read something, and like as a teacher of high school students that like write essays, like it's very obvious how much they use ChatGPT, because it's just so obvious when you read ChatGPT. It reads like ChatGPT, and it's like a college professor in my grad school would easily just 100% know that like I wrote something with ChatGPT. So obviously I would never because like I would get kicked out of school if I did that. And like, I don't know, you just, I'm fine with using AI in limited ways like that, so long as it's like a rough draft. That's just more for like the ethical side of it, or like the moral side of it, I guess. But then the ethical side of it is like if it can save me time or whatever. Yeah.
Logistical side,
not ethical, but I do have a net problem like morally using AI for like cheating or whatever. Like I would never use it to like write a grad school paper, because A, it's bad, and like B, like, you know, I have integrity. I don't know.
Yeah, you're supposed to go to grad school to learn things, you know.
Yeah, especially because I'm getting I'm getting my master's degree in special education. I'm trying to be a special ed teacher, and I need to learn like these things about like mild to moderate, like
super based. Yeah, like
I need to know like these like different autism spectrum disorders and stuff, and it's like I have to kind of know like the ins and outs of this legally and like medically and stuff. So I'm like, I can't phone this in. Like I'm going to be working with these kids in like a year. So
yeah, that's super based. I think it looks like you want to go into questions, but I was just going to say I was raised by a special ed teacher.
Oh, cool.
She was underpaid for the entire time she was doing it, and she loved every second of what she did.
Yeah, I love working with my
mother
special
is
ed kids.
A saint for that reason.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I like being a gen ed teacher, like a history teacher, but like working with like the special ed because kids are like, it's so much cooler. They're just cool. I worked in an intensive school when I was getting my undergrad. I had to do like student teaching hours. Like I had to get like practicum hours, and like that was in like a severe school, so it was like a contained school of like really severe like Down syndrome, like severe autism. And like I don't know if I'd ever want to do that, because that was more like a lot of those kids live there full time, and like it's like an adult facility also. It's like they had like their adult side of it too. And that's where I kind of really fell in love with like working with people with special needs, and I was just like, oh, this is sick. I want to do this. So then but I was already too far into my like education degree at the time, so I couldn't like change. But I always wanted to come back and get a degree in special ed. So I've been teaching for a few years now, and now I'm like, it's time. So I went back, and now I'm getting my master's in special ed. So
I don't know if I'll go back.
Dude,
I'm thinking about it.
I've already been looking at PhD
what's
programs.
What's college?
What is college? What is debt, dude? Do you know how much debt me and my spouse are in collectively after med school and my grad school now? It's like over like $250,000. We're like pushing. Insane. I think we're pushing $500,000 now. We're getting close to $500,000 in debt, in student loan debt.
That's insane.
It's actually nutty. Like it's such a bizarre imaginary number.
Go back to school.
It doesn't even matter anymore, dude. It's just such a number that like it doesn't matter. It's so fake at this point, and that's what we talk about. It's like it's fake money. It doesn't matter. Like it's not real. Who cares? But it's just all loans. Just add more loans. Add more loans. Add more loans.
That also makes sense. Yeah.
Right.
But like, you know, having it like weighing over you and then having to encounter it once in a while, like that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like
we're gonna have that. I'm gonna have a wake up realization someday that like, I'm $400,000 in student loan debt.
Bankrupt. Ooh. Yeah. No. But I mean, like with my trajectory after school, just going into jobs and stuff like that. Went into some union industry. We'll just say that, and in and out of that, and now I'm in like a green energy type project. Zero debt.
Yeah.
A lot of scars, but zero debt.
Me too.
A lot of
awesome.
bodily damage and stuff like that, and
you
know, especially with it being able to pivot into green energy project is more fulfilling than, you know, like I don't know, just being a regular electrician on building trades or something like that. You know, I'm not saying I was an electrician, but
yeah.
But
that's cool though. That's great. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing to just live your life debt free, to be able to have that freedom. There is a certain economic freedom to that for sure. Like you're not constrained or tied down. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really don't even have credit really either. Like
I have a lot of credit cards.
It's probably would be good to get one, but like also like, this is just another like mode of exploitation.
Yeah,
of the ruling class.
It's completely exploitative. Yeah.
Especially after the radicalization, it's so hard to like do credit cards. To get back into these things, to do insurance, to do.
Insurance drives me crazy. Yeah. Like knowing what I know and like being radicalized and being a Marxist, like just pay. Like I had to get. We moved here to Washington a couple years ago, so we had to like change over our insurance and everything, and we had and I was like getting new insurance, and I was just like, this is bullshit, man. And then I go to the doctor, and it still charges me like $400 after I pay like X amount of insurance.
What the fuck's the point?
And I'm like, what's the fucking point, dude? Like eye insurance is the worst, dude, because I paid for eye insurance, then I went to the doctor and I like tried to get glasses, and it does nothing. It's like it gives you like $50 off of like one pair or whatever.
Dental
then what the fuck is I spent more in the last 12 months in insurance than I would save on this one trip. Like it's like if I just didn't have insurance, it would literally be cheaper.
Yes. Also, like, I know that sometimes, like, the medical plans with school, like, teachers' unions and stuff like that can be really good or really bad.
Yeah,
if you get,
I'm not on. My spouse's is better.
Okay, word.
The amount of times I'm gonna have to bleep her.
I'm just gonna say. I don't think I bleeped it last week too. I think I left Brianna's name in, so I'm like, fuck it.
Again.
But I was gonna say, if it has like Delta Dental. Run the other way. Just run the other way to get anything else besides that. Yeah, it's like Delta Dental it just makes it more expensive for you. It's just another layer.
That's why I haven't fucking deep cleaned my teeth in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah.
To floss as much as I can. Mouthwash and brush your teeth every night.
Gasoline, kerosene, everything you can do to keep your teeth together. Yeah.
Whatever. A good old rakia, some hard liquor.
Some rakia, exactly.
Get all of the germs and everything. Oh my god.
What I have.
I have Delta Dental. It's unfortunate. I have fucking United. The little fucking cunt they shot his fucking ass in the fucking streets. But I
Rip Bozo.
Pack
Bozo. Watch.
I was paying like because I didn't have like the cheap insurance. I had like mid insurance through my company. It was like $40 every pay period, so every 2 weeks. So it's like $80 a month. And then I got my wife on our insurance. And I upgraded to like the top level because we needed like better insurance because she had just in general more medical problems than I have. Right. Sure. And so I'm like, okay, dude, it went from $70, $80 a month to $600 a month. It took such a fucking bite out of my fucking paychecks. Yeah, and I'm just like, can we go out to dinner? I'm like, no, we can't.
No, we can't. Actually.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Sorry,
say,
baby.
You feel that too.
Dude,
when you get
$600 a month is crazy.
It's crazy. It's absolutely. And you said United, right?
Yeah.
Like for United, I think at a previous job not too long ago, I had United, and it was like, I got the cheapest of the cheap. That was like,
$15-20.
Like no, that was Met state minimums. That was like $92 a week or something like that. Yeah. And for one person, almost $400 a month for healthcare. You best know I opted out of that for a while.
Yeah.
Because what's the point? I'll just pay the $400 out of pocket for what I do need.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm recently got on medication. I'm on TRT. I'm on hormone replacement therapy. Right.
Same.
Nice.
Other way though,
because I'm hypogonadal and I have the testosterone of a fucking woman. Yeah. Right. And so I tried to get it through my doctor. Right, my private care physician. They tried to get me on Clomid, which is like a female fertility drug. Right, and it has like horrible like behavioral side effects where you'll have mood swings like a fucking pregnant woman. And I'm just like, I need to do this long term. I looked it up. You don't do that shit long term. You take it for 6 months and also gives you ocular damage over a long period of time. But they wouldn't give me testosterone because you have to do it the rest of your life. I'm like, that's fucking fine. I work with needles for a living. I'll stick myself every day. I don't care. Right. And I went to a like online telehealth thing.
Yeah.
Right. I met with a bunch of doctors online. They're specialists for hormones specifically because they work with bodybuilders. They work with people that for hormone replacement therapy in general. And there's like, but they figured everything out. They took all my hormone levels, lipids, everything, fucking 42 different things for $400. I paid out of pocket. for that blood work. Just my testosterone blood work for testing my testosterone at the fucking doctors, it was $400. Just that.
Yeah,
I had
just
42. It told me everything. Like I just felt like I knew myself so much better because it told me everything, right?
I love getting those too.
And I found out I had so many hormonal problems. My pregnenolone is like 1/10 of what it should be. All this bullshit, right? So now I'm like heavily medicated on different types of hormones. And it costs less than my doctors, and I'm not even using my insurance because it doesn't take insurance because it's considered preventative medication, except I have a clinical diagnosis of hypogonadal, and if I take this, and it cures that diagnosis.
Yeah.
Right? So how's that preventative? That's literally a cure to my fucking disease.
Yeah. If this means anything for everybody out there of all gender expressions, at some point, get your hormones checked for some reason, because there are a lot of reasons for everybody that you may not be feeling good for those things.
If you're depressed, get your hormones
get your hormones checked.
If you can't lose weight, get your hormones. Everything is run by hormones, right?
Yeah. See,
I'm depressed.
even like,
I'm on my antidepressants, but I don't have to ever have my.
Go get your hormones checked, bro.
Get your T checked. Yeah, I mean, like pre-transition, I've been low T my entire life, like pre-transition. So it was a really, really easy switch going over to like a full estrogen thing. So you also do the injections for your testosterone?
Yeah, I take testosterone and I take HCG to keep my fertility while I'm on TRT.
Yeah. Do you have to use like the big hypodermic needles? Or is it like small?
So for my HCG, I take 30.
I always get it easy. That's crazy.
Well, depending how much you have to administer yourself, right?
That's true.
For my HCG, it's a 31 gauge needle, so it's this tiny little needle.
Yeah, so it's like an insulin syringe. Yeah, like diabetics like myself.
And so that's in my stomach. That's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. My testosterone is also Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 120 milligrams per week. That's with a 28 gauge. So they're not big, you know. I got used to it. Now every time I poke myself in the glute, I don't even fucking feel it.
I wish Brianna was here.
So check this out.
Let's talk about this.
For estrogen, because it's suspended in an oil, so you need to take needles to both get it out. So you need needles to get it out and one to inject it.
Testosterone as well. It's suspended in oil. The cypionate. It's suspended in oil.
Cypionate,
yeah.
I'm on e-cypionate. That stuff's good. It's stable.
Yeah, but it's like pulling it out. You have to sit there for like a minute because I don't want to use the big ass fucking 23 gauge needle, 21 gauge needle, 18 gauge needle, because when you pull it out, a lot of air comes out. So it's kind of.
It's not dangerous. Doesn't that kill you?
If you pressurize the bottle and then pull it out, it should be fine.
You gotta do it slowly.
I've been diabetic for 18 years also, so I'm experienced.
I work with, like I said, I work with needles all fucking day.
Yeah. Well, that's why I want to be on by the doctor that
the doctor,
the doctor, capital T. That's what they do. They do gender affirming care and like abortive. They do like family medicine and like that's the practice they do. So like that's like all they see all day is like trans patients and like then do like then assign this stuff. So I'm like they would be the person here to not you guys know more than I do. So I was just like, it would be cool to have like the person who is like that's their job be a part of this conversation for this particular conversation.
Basically what I was getting at is 18 gauge drawing needle, 23 gauge injection needle, inch long all the way to the muscle.
Yeah, that's what I normally use at work, is the 23 gauge for most of the things that I do. But the 18 gauge needle, so I listen to a lot of like, because I'm really into bodybuilding in general, and I there's it's Mark Bell's powerlifting podcast, and this crazy ass motherfucker, he's like, because he's been doing testosterone for a long time, right? He's like 50, 60 years old almost, and they're asking what kind of needles they use. He's just like, what do you mean? I just use the pink needle. They're like, what do you mean the pink needle? It's like, the one that comes. He's like, that's the needle for drawing.
Oh, the 18 gauge?
This motherfucker's been using the 18 gauge needle for dosing himself for the past 30 years. He's like, I don't want to use the little needles because it takes forever to push. I'd rather just get, because these guys use a lot, right? Mind you, they're pushing like
you play guitar, right?
Over a mil.
That's like a 50 gauge guitar string.
Okay. Yeah, it's thick, bro.
Beef,
It's fucking beef. And I was like, dude, how does this ass look? Because that shit must be shredded.
Oh, from the scar tissue?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like a cheese grater,
dude.
He just uses
those
the
are big
pink
needles.
ones.
I mean, it's like the cord.
Yeah. I have a rough idea because we give out. We don't give out needles that big, but like in the mutual aid, the harm reduction supplies, we give out different needles. And so like, I've seen. Everyone always asks for the smaller gauge needles. Mm-hmm. So that's gnarly.
This guy's been using for like 25 years.
That's insane. Jeez.
I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
There's got to be. I mean, I don't know anything about hormone therapy, but there's got to be like pretty nasty side effects to just taking like just freebasing testosterone for 30 years, right? I mean, is it relatively?
No, it depends
harmless?
how much you use. These motherfuckers use 10 times the amount I use, right? Because I'm just replacing my testosterone that was supposed to be there. Because I'm sitting at anywhere between 180 to 220 nanograms per deciliter. I'm supposed to be at 1,000 to be optimal, but normal range is really like a normal range for a person my age is supposed to be between like 500 to 1,000, right? And I'm sitting at like 1/5 at like the most optimal range. So they're trying to put me somewhere in there, and depending, like, it's trying to help my symptoms, right? Which was fucking brain fog out the wazoo, sleepiness. Like it's so hard to get up. There's a lot of little things that come with hypogonadalism, right? And that's for the long term with being low T as like a man. Causes osteoporosis, type 2 diabetes, high risk. My insulin is super high, but my lipids are low. Which is associated with my testosterone because my diet is good, but my insulin is high. My glucose is normal. That doesn't make any sense. If your insulin's high, your glucose is normally high too, right? And it's literally genetics, and I can't do anything about it. That's why I have to go on it. Otherwise, I'm at risk for Alzheimer's. I'm at risk for type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis. I mean, it's better I inject myself 3 times a week than have to fucking deal with like horrible side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the main things of like the main hormones in the body is like just cellular reproduction. Like if you're low T, like your skin gets all weird. Not like acne, but I mean like it can be tight or extremely loose and that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
And yeah,
I should go get that checked.
You bruise easily. Your muscles are constantly sore. You gain weight really fast, lose muscle very quickly. There's a lot of things.
Yeah, and the same goes for like on the other side as well. Like estrogen is important for estrogenized people, be it born female, intersex, or male born people who use estrogen for transition. Like it's important to have that so that your cells are reproduced as a base, and then all the other things that it does for you that are preferable, or being in normal range is a good thing. Get it checked out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'll schedule that. I happen to know a doctor, so it works out.
Yeah,
damn, that's crazy.
If you want it on the cheaper, shout out to Merrick Health, right?
Oh yeah,
if you want, Merrick?
Merrick Health?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's like a national like chain
so
thing.
The person I heard it through was Derek from More Place More Dates.
Derek Merrick?
No, his name's Derek. And he has one more person that started it with him. He's a big YouTuber, and he knows he talks about steroids all the time and gym culture shit, right?
Oh, okay.
And I was like,
in that gym culture.
Well, I've been watching this guy for years, and I'm like, I'm never going to take steroids. And then when I came to the point where like I don't know what the fuck is going on, it was originally for my ADHD symptoms, right, which are really associated with low testosterone. They wouldn't. I with my fucking insurance, my medical insurance, I couldn't find a fucking behavioral therapist or a person to diagnose me with ADHD because it wasn't supported with my health insurance. And so I just went through them. And for $400, like this test, they'll give you, and even if you're not going to go on any sort of hormone therapy, they'll give you this huge list for the cheapest price. They'll give you all this blood work, and they'll go through everything. And they're like, what are you lacking? They'll tell you what you're lacking and how to improve that. You don't have to necessarily get some sort of hormone therapy or even like trying to find hormone therapy. They'll help you find like whatever is going on in your body. It's like, oh, this is that.
Yeah, maybe your kidney's not working very well. You got to help out your kidney.
Your
that
creatinine
kind of thing.
is super high.
Yeah,
your kidneys are shutting down. Fucking stop doing this, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
But yeah. So fuck the insurance. Go through them out of pocket. $400 is a lot, but man.
Or if your insurance does cover it, get a full panel.
Yeah,
by your PCP.
My insurance is pretty good because it's through. Is Riley just staring at us?
Yeah, he's cute. He's cute.
My insurance is pretty good, so it's through the medical people's whatever. I don't know. It's Aetna.
It better be
the medical's people.
The medical people. I don't know shit about
like medical field provider.
Yeah, it's Aetna. I don't know. It's
Aetna can be better than United.
Yeah.
None of my prescriptions cost anything, which is interesting. So like it's always free to get my own.
I pay my prescriptions out of pocket because
they're always zero charge.
$1,000 every 3 months.
Oh,
Jesus, dude.
Yeah, all mine's always free. I have fluconazole, not fluconazole. Fluoxetine,
Prozac.
Yeah. And then I have I get migraines, so I'm on my anti-migraine medicine.
I got a bunch of Prozac in my house that they made me start taking for my ADHD. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not depressed. I'm not anxious.
Prozac for ADHD? That's insane.
Well, he's like,
apparently that's like a thing. Though.
He's like, I can't prescribe you any Adderall, Ritalin, Vyvanse, whatever, because I can't give you a diagnosis. But it's like, are you sure you're not anxious? Maybe you're just constantly slightly anxious and it's causing the ADHD symptoms.
They tried that with me and they gave me Lexapro. That was a nightmare.
I was like, bro, no.
That's what
they gave me a low dose, and I'm just like, I took it for a month, and after a month, I'm like, dude, what? I just feel like nothing. Mm-hmm. I'm like this. I feel because like I don't like that because again, I work in a preclinical facility. I work with animals, right? I need to learn how to make judgment calls when, for animal welfare concerns, right? I cannot have zero attitudes or like feelings when I have to constantly use my emotions.
You can't be dead inside.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, I have to use my emotions to constantly be aware of like animal welfare, other people in the room. Like, I don't like that. So I threw that shit and he gave me, God, it was like amoxicillin. Mm-hmm. And it's, dude, I don't want to say it on air, but let me say the side effects after 4 days, I was just like in the trash.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't throw them in the trash because you're not supposed to throw pharmaceutical grade drugs in the trash.
Yeah, we disposed of them at an unwanted medication disposal facility. Yeah. Yes. Same thing with Lexapro. That was not a good time.
Yeah. I haven't had any side effects with the fluoxetine. It seems.
What are you on, 15, 10?
Maybe it's just right for you. I mean,
well, I had to adjust it. I was on 10, but then I had to up it. Now I think I'm on 20. And
okay, I was on 10.
Yeah,
and I did not like that at all. It's just because I'm not anxious or depressed.
Yeah, and I was having a rough time. So, but now I'm all right. So
cool, good.
Yeah, medicine works. Yeah, that medicine works. Yeah,
good for you, man.
Yeah,
but so get your hormones checked out.
Okay, I'll have to do that next.
Yeah, get your hormones.
Can we want to steer this back because we've been going for almost 2 hours?
Yeah, let's steer back into some Marxism. Yeah.
So and then
good discussion though. Like
that was a weird talk.
Well, that's weird. It's great about podcast. You got to have a good discussion.
Is it? I mean, all of that was Marxism. It's three Marxists speaking about things.
We're talking about insurance. We're talking about health.
Yeah. I was just gonna say we can steer it back to kind of like local action stuff, or not, whatever. We can talk about whatever you guys want.
Well, I know you guys had a list of questions, right? So
there's like 5 questions.
Let's bang that out and see what happens.
I always ask, but we've already established it. So I always ask the same 2 questions every guest we've had, and we've had a few guests now. I always ask, how do you identify as far as like Marxism? And I think you've pretty explicitly said Marxist-Leninist, right?
Yeah, and Marxist-Leninist, anti-revisionist. That kind of thing.
Okay. And then we always ask what radicalized you. So like, what is it that radicalized you? Because there's always one like crux moment in most people who like identify as Marxist. Because what we identified a few episodes ago is that everyone is born Marxist, right? Or like everyone is born with a certain level of empathy. Like if you ask any toddler if we should feed the homeless, they'd all say yes, right? So everyone is born with a level of like empathy, and then that is beaten out of you. But then to anyone who is an adult and has this kind of like political bent to them, there is some like singular moment that like almost always defines their beliefs. And it's always been an interesting conversation, at least I found, that every person we've asked, they've had like a very different and like unique story to tell.
Yeah.
So what radicalized you?
I would say it would definitely tie back to like 2008, just the economic crash. Sure. I did not become a Marxist-Leninist when I was 9 years old.
I was going to say, how old were you?
I was 9 years old. I was 9 years old. That would be really sick.
I was in my 20s and I was pissed. I was a delivery driver and like, I couldn't afford gas anymore. And like, that was a rough time for us. Yeah.
Yeah. But even being 9-10 years old and seeing the fallout. Power being off once in a while. It's like, hey, why aren't the lights coming back on? My switch is on. Like the light switches up and stuff. Like, what's going on here? Like, what, like, you're not seasoning food as much anymore, that kind of stuff, like these kinds of things, and starting to kind of notice that like, hey, something going on in the outside world is not being very kind to like just my regular family. Yeah. So, and that was kind of always something that I felt like was going on in the back of my head, and it influenced my politics one way to another. But when I got out of high school, I joined a trade union out of high school to work, started making a lot of money, and kind of gained that like trade unionist consciousness, that like it's the workers against the boss, which is correct, just incomplete.
Yeah.
And then that got further and further and further and further, and then my friend who I mentioned earlier, telling me to join the APL. We had been talking about politics for probably a year and a half before that. Nice. just him, trying to convince me one way or another towards Marxism. Met some people from other bands, other Marxist Leninist bands. There is one from Portland, which I can tell you guys about later. But had a couple conversations there, and just kind of like picked up some books, looked at the PDFs, but picked up some books. It's like, wow, this is making a lot of sense, and it's like, yeah, I need to do something about this now. Like,
yeah,
this,
absolutely. Well, once you know it, you're kind of like,
once you know,
man.
you're
once
fucked.
your eyes are open to it, it's really hard to unsee it. Right?
And good luck enjoying anything afterwards.
That's
too.
I've had that conversation.
It's a misery.
Yeah, it's a miserable existence.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
100%. I was talking to that up to my spouse. I was just like, yeah, it sucks to like see everything through that lens because it kind of ruins everything for you. It's like you just see exploitation and you see manipulation in everything.
I wouldn't want it any other way.
But I wouldn't take it back.
Exploitation. This the being able to see
able to see the exploitation.
Everything and I'm real fun at parties because I'm just like, oh yeah, like, and you'll just steer that. It's like, oh, that's bad because of capitalism.
I was doing the fucking memes or just like
it's
like one drink, I'm good. After the second drink, I'm fucking just pointing out
Stalin did nothing wrong.
One breath of oxygen later. I don't drink currently, but one breath of oxygen later, Stalin did nothing wrong.
yeah, dude. So it's just but like I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I'm glad that I know what I know, and I'm glad I think the way that I think. But it does ruin things. It does take a lot of joy out of certain things.
Yeah,
it's a hard existence, but also like I think that's why you have to be that kind of like almost like optimistic to a naive point of like to this almost like
militant optimism.
Militant optimism.
We will win. We have to.
We have to win. There is no other option.
And that is why we will win.
Yeah. Well, if we don't, everything dies.
Yeah.
And the whole civilization collapses.
Yeah, it's socialism or barbarism. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is the outlook.
That's the
planet
classic,
is decaying. Like we need to get it to a system that we can make it easier for us to live through the consequences of what has been done to the planet.
Absolutely. Well, there's two options there. Is like, do we take on the fucking capitalist empire head on, which is the U.S. and Western allies? I guess the rest of the world, for the most part.
Yeah, I mean the world.
Do we take them head on, or do we wait for the whole fucking planet to crash and collapse, and then try to reform something afterwards? Those are our two options.
Yeah, those are the two options, and both are like, okay, we're gonna get slaughtered if we do a head-on battle into this, this world imperialist order.
But if we wait too long,
millions dead the other way, right? Like lose.
Yeah, I mean there will be barbarism. There will be very, very hard times. It's going to be an arduous task to get this done. But
absolutely. I think the key part though is finding somewhere right in the middle.
Yeah.
We have to wait for it just to be horrible enough for people to realize this place is shit, and just early enough where the whole the whole fucking planet doesn't die.
Yeah. The value of the theory of value of inconvenience hasn't been theorized yet, but people especially closer to us in the developed world don't have that inconvenience, even though economically speaking we're making less money than people did in contrast to cost of living from during the Great Depression, but we have the convenience factor.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to
little
be
treats.
true.
Yeah. And the whole like treat rate thing, like food delivery, blah blah blah. Like I'm not into the discourse. Like,
well, it's not just that; it's also like YouTube.
Yeah, back YouTube and the instant gratification economy that we live in and stuff. Like, go down the street and get whatever you want.
And that's what I'm talking about, the treats. He's like, back in the the Great Depression, it's like, everybody was poor, but everybody else was fucking bored, right? Now we're poor and bored. But now we're poor, but it's like, fuck, man.
We're entertained,
I fucking can't go out, but I can put on fucking Netflix.
Yeah,
I can put on YouTube.
Exactly. No matter how poor I am, I'll always have my WoW subscription, right? So it's just like, I'm never giving that up, you know what I mean? So like, I'll always have something to do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like, it's disruption of those of the value of convenience to the broad working masses that will start to radicalize more and more people. And there are other events too, to tie it back to radicalization. I mean, there was like my eye injury and stuff that we talked about 2 hours ago at this point. But like the company that I was working for, who was like the one who was giving me healthcare along with my wages and stuff, not being flexible at all with like giving me time off to go to the doctor to again get damaged and dead tissue from my eye removed after this horrible injury, which I
you got your eye removed?
No, like tissue from it. So
tissue from the eye. I'm like, oh god damn.
Yeah.
All right.
So I have one fully functioning eye, which is my right eye. So you're on my blind side, and then my left side is very
left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when you guys mug
you
me,
gave away your fucking vulnerability. So you have to bleep that part.
Oh shit, that's right. Yeah,
I
have
VFW
20.
Assassins.
These are fake. 20/20 vision and perfect hearing. No
2015. I have 2015 vision, but I still can't see shit. It doesn't make any sense. Like I can see very clearly, but I can't actually like process what I'm seeing.
Oh yeah, just you have a delay in your ophthalmic nerve.
Yeah, probably something like that, or it's probably just born with
too much weed.
Yeah, probably.
Too much.
Yeah. Not enough weed, brother.
Yeah, I'll just say that's my third. Besides my fluoxetine and my migraine medicine, it's my 10 milligram edible every night. That's my third and final dose. Yeah,
absolutely.
Which is like not a lot for weed people, but
literally nothing.
But I'm not a weed person.
Bro, I take like a hit off a dab pen every 2 days from my wife. That's it. I have like a beer, 2 beers a week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably an alcoholic, so I have that going for me. But besides that,
well, mine is just like too much nicotine, man.
Yeah. That's where I'm at right now.
You're a nicotine person. I smoked for 15 years, 2 packs a day. Quit 6 years ago.
Nice, congrats. Yeah.
Well, I've lowered my nicotine a lot, but it's like I smoke my hookah, right? Like I used to smoke like 2 or 3 heads a day, right? That's like 4 hours of smoking a day, like
that's
consistent,
crazy,
by myself, to myself. And I have like these grandiose fucking hookahs from Turkey and Egypt.
Yeah,
and
that was cool. That was cool. Your wedding, you guys busted them all out. It was like a whole hookah party.
Yeah, dude, I used to have like 17 of them. Yeah. I used to have I had a German one called MIG, made in Germany, and it was fucking $800. That hookah. Damn. It was precision steel drilled.
German engineering, man.
Yeah, and it was nice, and it was supposed to have like the base was supposed to be like shatterproof until a brick fell on it, and then it shattered.
Of course, yeah.
And then I need to buy a new vase, but the vase itself is 180 euros. And it has to be shipped in from Germany. That's like $200, and it has to be shipped. So it's like $250 for a fucking vase. And I won't lose my goddamn mind, but I want to smoke that hookah again because it's an $800 hookah.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
it's just a really good.
I couldn't partake at your wedding because I would probably relapse. So I have to be very careful around nicotine.
That is completely understandable.
Yeah,
I'm not going to make you. If anybody is,
you offered it, and I was like, damn, if only, but I just couldn't. I just can't do it. Yeah, like I can't smoke cigars anymore either. I can't do anything.
I don't push that shit on people. I hate when it's like, oh come on, man.
It was so hard to quit smoking. It took me years.
Peer pressure is teenage shit too.
Yeah.
Like, that shit. It's like
if you say no, that's like people.
If you were like, I've never tried this shit before, I'm like, you should. It's pretty good, right?
Or like or it's like, great, you haven't tried it. Don't.
Yeah, don't.
Like, don't do that.
The hookah is a little different, right?
Yeah, it's
if I was a cigarette smoker, I would say no, right? Or if like I don't know, like some nicotine pouches.
Yeah.
But the hookah is like 90% of people that smoke hookah don't smoke it regularly, right?
Yeah.
It's a super low nicotine thing. It's a hassle to set up. It takes like 20 minutes just to set one up. That's the great part about it, right? That's why I can't take it anywhere. I can't take it anywhere. It sits at home, so when I come home, I set up my hookah, I smoke one head, and that's it for the day. I don't think about it till the next day at a certain period.
Yeah, it's like making an old fashioned, right? Like when I go upstairs and I'll make an old fashioned, I'll muddle my sugars and my bitters,
but you're not going to be walking around with an old fashioned.
I'm not going to do that. It's a special thing.
But if you're like, I quit smoking and I don't want to start again, I'd be like, okay, no, give me that shit.
Yeah, no, it was really difficult to quit smoking. I tried everything. I had patches and gum and everything, and the e-cigarettes were eventually like what I transitioned to, and then low. It's like tapered off my nicotine from there. Yeah. But then I was still at like 1 cigarette a day. I couldn't break 1 cigarette a day for like a year, and then finally I broke it. So
yeah,
I quit smoking cigarettes, and now I'm like, it's that craving never goes away. It's like I've always wanted a cigarette, and so like I have to be very careful around cigarettes and like nicotine.
My parents both smoke cigarettes their entire lives. My dad since like he was like 12.
Yeah.
A Balkan ass thing, it's just like everybody 80%. There you would go to a fucking hospital in Yugoslavia, right? And it'd be like 1985, 1984, and you sit there and the doctor's smoking a cigarette in his office and he's like examining or whatever, doing whatever.
Yeah,
and he's smoking a fucking cigarette. So it's like it was everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like that.
It was like 90% of people smoked cigarettes. 90% of people.
I'm old enough to have smoked in a bowling alley and a bar. Like it wasn't that long ago in America.
Yeah,
but.
Like I said, cigarettes are a whole different thing. They quit just recently. My mom maybe like a year ago. My dad.
Your mom was on e-cigarette, right?
Yeah. My dad just switched a month ago. We finally got his fucking narcissistic, egotistical ass to switch over because he was always like, that is worse for you than cigarettes. Believe me, Believe me.
Yeah.
His family is super Eastern European.
Yeah. I was like, it's super bad. Like that is so bad for you. This cigarette is better. And it's like, and then eventually my mom was like nagging him until he fucking switched over, and now he's smoking it no problem. And I'm like, that's all it fucking takes. So they're trying to get off of that to quit smoking as well. Yeah. But we'll see how that worked for me. Yeah, it's better than cigarettes, man. I mean, honestly, all the carcinogens and the tar.
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah. God. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
You breathe better on it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
Do you smoke cigarettes or nicotine?
Vape. Yeah.
Vape,
I have a vaporizer. I think.
Yeah.
I had a vape for a year. And
I caught another one of my students with one. It's like a constant thing.
I'm sure the disposable ones are a big problem.
Bar, like
Pulse,
Pulse, whatever. Yeah.
Grow up, get one that you refill.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I always hit the refill.
Don't do it at
15,
16
or
years
don't
old.
do it when you're a teenager. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
as
started.
I say, not as I do.
I started smoking my freshman year.
Honestly, I didn't smoke or do
grade,
nicotine. Any type of nicotine, I was like 18, to be honest. And that was a hookah. And then I've never smoked a cigarette.
Telling
in
that
my
my
life.
best friend to this day, my best friend Rob. I met him because I was smoking cigarettes in an ROTC uniform. I was in ROTC my freshman
This
year
is
of high school.
incredible.
I had a fro. I had like a foot
Like
big
a-
fro. I have a
oh
photo,
my
yeah.
God.
And I was in an
I've gotta
ROTC
see
uniform
this.
that was like ill fitted because I was 6'2"
It's like
in
Bob
ninth grade.
Ross. I can see it. It's like a
Yeah,
Bob Ross.
it was like a Bob Ross fro, a
Kinda
little,
like a
little
Jewish
looser than
fro.
that. But I'm like 6'2", and I've been 6'2" since like the 5th grade, and so like
Wow.
there was no clothes.
Bro,
that-
in 6th grade, I was like 5 foot.
No, so I was wearing like high water, the shiny shoes, and like I was in my like class A, whatever RTC, and I was smoking cigarettes in an alley, and then
How old were you at this point?
that was my freshman year of high school, so I was probably
Okay.
14 or 15 maybe. And anyway, these two guys walk up and they're like punk as shit. They have like mohawks and like patches and everything, And they asked me for a cigarette, and I'm like, yeah, sure, man. So we just smoked for a while, and those are two of my closest friends to this day.
Nice.
And that's how we met. Was they bummed cigarettes from me in an alley. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. So if it wasn't for cigarettes,
That's a true story. That was one of the first guys I joined that punk band with. They showed me the ways of punk. I was listening to like Offspring and Blink-182 and stuff, but like they showed me like real punk, like Exploited and like.
Most importantly, though, did they get you out of ROTC?
I got myself out of ROTC.
Okay, good.
I actually funny story later that I did join the army a couple of years later. In
never know this.
2005.
you joined
Which
the
was-
army?
Yeah, I joined the army at 17. I was my junior year of high school. I joined the army, and they had a program called the DEP, the Delayed Entry Program. You could join at 17. You go to basic training in between your junior and senior year. It's super predatory because, looking back on this, it's
super predatory.
the most fucked up thing in the world. Because recruiters are on campus, they're in the ROTC, and they're like recruiting from ROTC.
But you can't
and
drink until you're 21, right?
No, you join at 18. But so like the way it works is you join at 17. You sign up. You go to what's called MEPS, the Military Interest Processing Station. You get sworn in. You do your thing. You get serialized, and you get your orders and everything. And you do all that, and then you go to basic training in between your junior and senior year, and then you go finish your senior high school, and then you get deployed after senior when you're 18.
You're deployed?
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
basically like they
At 18,
catch you, they get you in early, they get you all the shit out of the way so they can deploy you to Iraq and Afghanistan. Because remember, this is 2005 or 2004 or whatever. Like the second you turn 18, you just get shipped off.
Yeah.
It's a super predatory program. Yeah, so I did that. I joined that. You didn't know that? I didn't tell the story yet?
No.
Oh, okay. So I haven't told the story yet. So anyway,
Holy shit. Okay.
so I
that's
joined at
amazing.
17. I go through MEPS. I get sworn in. I'm an E1 now. I'm a private in the U.S. Army.
Holy shit,
I'm,
bro.
my MOS
This is like some hidden lore. What the fuck?
I have deep hidden lore. I'm 92 Yankee. I'm a unit supply officer. That's like my MOS. If it's like your job
Okay.
in the army. The recruiter said that was the best job because I scored like 98th percentile or something on the ASVAB because I used to be a smart guy, and I scored really high on the ASVAB. And the recruiter said that was the power. Like that's the position you want. You want to be in charge of the unit supply, like a whatever the S officer was. I forget, but like basically like they're the guys who are in charge of like giving out rations and socks and cookies and chocolate bars and cartons of smokes or whatever, right? They're the guys in the supply office, and so they're the ones who have like all of the power of like bribery and black market shit, which in hindsight is like a pretty fucked up thing for a recruiter to say, but that's what they said. Anyway, the point of the story is
Self-aware.
yeah, they were like, yeah, that's what you want to do, and I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds good.
Bribery,
and they're
yes.
also like, yeah, you also like won't be on the front line in Iraq, so there's also that. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good too, because it is like this is like Battle Fallujah. I mean, this is like peak, this is early 2000s shit, right?
What were you thinking, bro?
I was fucking 17. And I don't know. Anyway, I didn't go. I didn't do it. And here's the thing. It was the day I was supposed to ship out. I forget what fort I was supposed to ship out to. It was like the end of my summer. And I had joined a couple bands. And one of the bands was going to play a bunch of shows like in and around Arizona. And they're like, oh, you should come do this. And I was like, I can't. I got to go to basic training in the Army. And they're like, just don't do that. And I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't do that. So then I just,
Is that like jail time?
Not if you're 17, baby.
Oh!
So here's the catch. Yeah.
You
So
found the
because
loophole.
I found the
God.
loophole. So because it's the DEP and the 17, I just didn't go. And I hid in the back of my mom's van, and I was like, because the recruiters were like chasing me. They were like
my
driving
God.
around looking for me because like I was supposed to ship off to basic training, and they were like taking me to the airport or whatever. And I was just like, nah, I don't want to go. Anyway, they eventually caught up with me, and I just had to sign a piece of paper saying I'd like just back out. Which yeah, had I been 18, I probably would have gone to jail or whatever. But because I was 17, I could just sign a piece of paper.
Whoa.
Anyway, long story short, I didn't go to the military, and
Nice.
My
dad-
I realized the error of my ways and was like,
Yeah.
fuck all that.
My
So-
dad literally evaded the Yugoslav army like that too for the
Sick.
whole year.
Damn.
the recruiters came to his mom's house like looking for him. She has no clue where he is because he heard that they were gonna come. This is from what I understand, and he like head out to like the Croatian shore in Dalmatia and just took a car with his friends and just head out. They didn't even tell his parents. He was gone for like a fucking month. Nobody knew where he was. He just
off in the countryside.
And nowadays you're just like, nobody. I don't even have to say where are you. I just go like, let me see what the tracker is.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Have
that location off
Yeah.
when you need to. Yeah. But this is an interesting tie back into some Marxism and some praxis, right? Like this is something that a lot of APL comrades have worked on is getting JROTC kicked out of schools.
Yeah,
so they can stop doing this shit.
Why is that even? I don't understand why.
It's crazy that that's still a thing.
Yeah,
like if you think
insane.
about like indoctrination and like what they say Marxists do in schools and like what people actually do, it's just
yeah. We Marxists in schools are the good ones.
Yeah, we're the good guys.
Yeah,
and also like what the fucked up part is, and then we had the same conversation similar to this last week, is that like, but I have to stay, or at least I want to stay like neutral and ethical, and I try to give kids because I try not to like brainwash kids into like Marxism. I want them to come to their own conclusions. Mm-hmm. And I firmly believe that if you explain capitalism honestly and if you explain communism honestly, they will inevitably choose communism 9 times out of 10 because like they're not assholes and they're not evil. So like that's the altruistic and empathetic way to go. Mm-hmm. So like I just let them make that choice, and almost inevitably they always choose what I would consider the right path. But I don't try to force their hand because that would be unethical and I think amoral. But like that's the disadvantage that Marxists are at, is we have that high bar. Whereas fascists don't. Like fascists do play underhanded shit, and they do try to manipulate, and they do indoctrinate, and they do groom, and they do all of these like super seedy shit, and they do like put ROTCs in schools and stuff.
ROTCs
and it's like
in schools.
We'll always be at a disadvantage. In the conversation we had
they
last
also
week,
control the media. They also control
the media.
So like it's just like we are Marxists
mm-hmm.
are at a disadvantage at every turn.
Yeah.
So it's just it's imperative that we win, but it's very difficult for us to win.
Yeah. I mean, like Marxists throughout history, the progressive forces throughout history have always been at a disadvantage in one way or another.
Because of morals or ethics or just institutionalized.
The base and superstructure at the time of whatever movement, you know, French Revolution, et cetera, these kinds of things.
Will always
the exploiting minority at the top of society is always better equipped, better funded, et cetera, than the exploited majority at the bottom of society, just as we are now. Yep. I mean, most of the wealth is in probably the top 1% of society in the United States. Yeah. And then the rest of us are fighting over pennies, you know.
Yeah. Blaming, trying to be taught to blame.
What's that one image? Is like there's like 100 cookies on this the rich man's plate. Yeah. There is
like which one he's gonna grab.
One cookie on this guy's plate,
and he's pointing at the
0 cookies on this guy's plate. He's like, hey, he's gonna steal.
That
your
guy's
cookie.
gonna take your cookie.
He's got like 99 cookies over here. The guy's got 1 cookie. This guy's got nothing.
That immigrant's gonna take your cookie.
It's like no, he's turning around. He just take all the cookies and just
exactly. It's very, very simple concepts like that.
Yeah, and that's why like you just gotta have these conversations. You gotta be out in the street, and you just gotta have these. You got a table, and you gotta do mutual aid, and you just gotta talk to people,
agitate, propagate, organize, get out there.
Yeah. Well, I think that brings us back around to wrap it up. I really got to pee, so I'm gonna try to.
Yeah.
And we're at 2 hours, so
we
need
a urine bag right here.
Yeah, just a
go.
catheter. Yeah.
So the Home Depot podcast toilet, Home Depot bucket. Oh, it's a wow joke. I thought you did it after your wow joke earlier.
I have peed in so many Home Depot buckets. I'm not gonna lie. With mechanic friends. Oh yeah,
for sure.
Working in his garage, you're just like you don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah,
it's gross, bro.
Well, where can people find you? Like, do you want us to drop all your socials and stuff?
Yeah, let's drop the socials.
Yeah.
My main username is Mira No Lactone, MIRANOLACTONE, and that is a fun spin on words on spironolactone, which is a androgen blocker that trans women take.
Okay, cool.
So throwing that out there.
Yeah,
deep cut there, but the girls know.
The girls know. Well, thanks so much for coming on. That was a lot of fun. We didn't talk about it, how you guys met online, and neither of us have met you before, and I had no idea you were coming.
And how I just walked into this guy's basement.
Shout out to you for walking into a strange man's basement.
Do you have any other
like socials or anything to shout out?
Pause here. I really gotta pee, so we're gonna have to come back to this because I gotta go pee.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Understood.
Yeah.
You all right, big fella? Catching a crap?
Go ahead, keep talking, Chuck.
Yeah, we on TV.
I know what we're doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's that. Hey, listen, he couldn't hold it. He can't hold it. After 40, he can't hold it no more.
Yeah. We talked about the Pope and we kind of actually praised him.
Oh, Rob Prevost.
Yeah, we were just talking about how he's not horrible, but then we later found out that he's actually kind of homophobic.
They're all homophobic.
We didn't know at the time. But Pope Francis really wasn't that homophobic. Pope Francis was like okay. He was like he had like a laissez-faire attitude, I guess. But
laissez-faire attitude for sure. That having open dialogue and being kind and respectful.
The new Pope is pretty like he's anti. He says like it's like. Supporting, well, I forget the quote exactly, but it's like supporting homosexual like relationships is like antithetical to like Catholicism and like a religious life. So he's kind of anti-homosexual, which is not cool.
It's unfortunate, but like at least we're not getting some crazy right-wing Pope. And you know, like as Marxists, like these religious institutions, like we would like to, at some point to see their end, at least their end in the systemic and administration of states and that kind of thing. Whichever level you ascribe to, you know, Lenin's 1905, the Workers' Party's attitude towards religion, definitely give it a read and get yourself your interpretation and just keep that in mind when you're out there organizing and stuff. But having a pope that is relatively progressive for a Catholic cardinal does actually meaningfully impact the communities that are highly Catholicized, like in Latin America.
Well, that's exactly what our point was. Exactly. Was like it's not like his individual policies or beliefs matter all that much, but what does matter is like the slight influence and the slight direction that he can have on like the 20% of the population that is Catholic. Right?
Yeah,
and so like there is a material like change that can happen if he's just like. If he comes out in support of Gaza or like, you know, in support of ceasefire or something, that even if like a fraction of the percentage of Catholics like listen to that, that's a huge percentage of the population. We looked it up. It's 20% of the world's population is Catholic, and so like it's 17% or something. It's like almost 1/5 of the population. So like, it actually matters like what that guy kind of thinks and what he says. So if he comes out like in support of Gaza or whatever, then boom, that's a huge movement toward, you know, that population toward, you know, changing their minds about Gaza or whatever.
Yeah, and just you know, progress in a bourgeois democratic kind of sense.
Yeah, any progress is good, I guess.
Yeah, it's good. I
we'll
guess.
Take it. Yeah. As long as you're not reverting, you know.
Yeah, and like again, obviously, ideally there wouldn't be a pope or a Catholicism, you know, under like. You know,
full true communism.
True communism.
But I would still let people have their religious thoughts.
but
I would just not allow them to have any actual power. That's the whole point, you know. I do like what like Tito did in like Yugoslavia, which is like you can go to your mosque, you can go to your church, you can pray whatever God you want. But the moment you say that you are part of a church or you're part of a mosque, you're not involved in the government, right? You have to say you're an atheist to be involved with the government.
Interesting. The actual separation of church and state.
Yes.
Yeah. That's very interesting. I did not know that was the Yugoslav model.
That's
noted.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I'll have to look into that because that is like I want to think about. I'm going to mull that over because like that seems like to be the actual solution to church and states, the separation there. So that's
because if you have any affiliation to any religion, you can't be in government.
Yeah, you can be impartial too. Like that's I mean that's the thing about like there was an old argument like I've brought this argument up before is like when I want to make a decision for somebody, I base it on like, you know, is it the most good for somebody or is it like it's based on like altruism and empathy like I've mentioned a few times so far. But if somebody who's like hyper religious is basing it on that, they're basing it on the religion, which is like, you know, very skewed to a very certain whatever it is, right? Like it's just very specific to one particular like
set of morals.
Yeah, set of morals that are
faith,
but like so like I don't know, like I don't base my decisions on a set of like predetermined morals. I base it on like altruism, I guess,
and material reality,
and the material reality that we live in, right? So like not some fictionalized version of that. So I don't know. So like that there is a certain logic there of like you can't
also
be an
the more
impartial...
people, if you oppress people, they will just logically start to go against you, even if your thought process and your government and your socioeconomic plan is completely logical. They just will they just won't like it and they will oppose it because you forced their hand on their religion, right? So we have to have some sort of balance. We can't just force people to do things, but what we can is limit their control, right?
Yeah,
the influence and
I'll have to You'll have to send me like a source on that, the Yugoslav like separation of church and state model, because that's very interesting.
That is interesting. I want to read more about that too.
I know that there's a lot of
the information I knew from that is from my grandfather who worked for the government.
Oh, sure.
Okay,
because he worked for the police force, and I've never seen an actual site because I never looked up the site on it because I've had multiple people in Bosnia tell me the same exact thing at the same time. But yeah, he was high up in the government. Because he was the biggest homicidal detective in Yugoslavia in the 80s. And so he knew everybody and he understood how the government worked. He was also part of the Communist Party.
Of course.
So like to be involved in that, you have to
kind of renounce religion.
And so he was an atheist for the longest time, and just recently he started coming back to Islam, and that's just probably because he's like 70 years old and starting to get scared about like, is there anything actually after this?
It's funny. I've been also reading a lot about Islam. I've been reading the Quran. I got a student just gave me my 3rd Quran, so I now have 3
okay,
Qurans. So I've been learning Arabic and reading the Quran. So I'm like, am I going to convert? No, I can't because I have dogs and I would never give up my dogs.
What? So we have dogs.
I think that's a misconception. I am definitely not an authority.
No, I've been talking to my Muslim students because they're the ones that are giving me. I have a bunch of East African girls that are giving me like these Qurans, and like they're teaching me both Somali and Arabic, and they're like really.
You have
stoked,
to understand in Islam, just like in a lot of places, there's what's called schools of thought.
Yeah, and I don't know what their school of thought is from Somali.
So like Wahhabi is a school of the thought of a school of Wahhab.
Yeah.
Right. There's Jafari, which is the Shia Islam, and there's different types of Shia Islam. The school of thought that my people grew up in was Hanafi, which comes from Turkish, like a Turkish style. So that's Albanian, Bosnian Muslims, Turkish, Central Asian Muslims, and those Muslims are usually a lot more liberal. They drink, they'll have things. So it's just like the interpretation of what certain things mean. And then there's also like a lot of Islamic rules come from basically the sayings of the Prophet,
right? And
then a lot of, because I almost got a minor in Islamic and Arabic studies, right? And so a lot of those rules that it's like, oh, this is like God's will, came from sayings from the Prophet. But it's like, okay, the Prophet, this person heard it from this person that heard it from that person. His uncle told this person that heard it from that person that heard it this person that heard it from the cousin of the Prophet that he said that. I'm like, I don't believe that shit. Right. I'm like, when I was more religious, I was like, if the Prophet said it, I believe it. If
how many steps removed?
Yeah. If it's like 2 steps from the Prophet, I believe it. Like the best friend of the Prophet told another person that the Prophet said that, I would believe it. Right. Past that, I'm like, people are going to use that for political control.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. People are just way too
the way it was
fucking
explained
dumb.
to me is that dogs they're not haram. They're just unclean. And so like if you were to touch a dog, you'd have to wash your hands.
They are.
You have to wash your hands, or you have to shower after you touch
But your
a dog.
ass is also fucking unclean.
Well, that's fair. So like, but it's not haram, but it's like but you can only have a dog if it's like if it's a work, so if it's like a shepherd or a guard dog, or if the dog has a job.
They're meant for outside. In Islam, they're meant for outside. Cats can be inside.
Cats are fine, but dogs are off
clean.
limits. Yeah,
I don't fucking care. I drink alcohol, have premarital sex. I fucking do
not
a bunch
anymore,
of shit. What? I don't. Yeah.
But
the thing is, like, here's another contextual thing is like people like do not take things historically in a historical context, right? When it's like, oh, you're not supposed to have sex in Islam. Premarital sex is because they got married at 13. It's like, do not have sex when you're 11 years old because most of the females are not even they haven't even began their period yet, right? So there's that context because people back then died at 45. Of course you're gonna start having children at 50
it's interesting
because
I'm learning this from the beginning, right? So like I'm learning like the fundamentals basically. So like I can't break the rules until I learn all the rules. So like that's where I'm at. Not that I'm going to convert to Islam. We're talking I'm going to convert to Islam. I've just been fascinated recently. I've been reading a lot of like I've just been reading the Quran. I've been reading a lot of like sources about the Quran. I've been learning Arabic, and it's just been a lot of fun. I've been on this journey. It's been
people are just more conservative than other people, and that's there's a certain interpretation.
Like I'm never going to give up alcohol. I'm never going to give up. Like I would never actually convert because I think to my core I'm an atheist. Like I don't believe in God. I like the idea of God, but I myself am not a believer. So
I do believe in a God. I just don't have a religion associated with it. Because I used to be Muslim for most of my life, and like for the past maybe 3-4 years, I'm just like I can't. Like I mean,
like my spouse is like pretty religious. Like Brianna's like pretty religious. Like, and we used to go to a church that was like a non-denominational, like it was a very queer friendly church, and like that's the only way we do it. But it was like a Christian-ish, non-denominational church. And like I like the community there. They like would go to movie nights and like we'd have potlucks and stuff, and like that was fun. But I was always like, this is. Well, they would when it was time to pray, I was always like a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, churches definitely have us out. Equipped to be honest, on organizing too. They can get people together for sure.
Yeah, but like the people,
and they have the resources to feed people and stuff,
like the mutual aid group that like I work with is I got to stop saying because I've been on the hiatus with them. I haven't worked since like December. I haven't volunteered with them. But anyway, the mutual aid group that I used to work with, the church. There's a local Mennonite church that lets us like use their basement and like all of our supplies were stored there, and that's where we operate out of. Is their church? Like shout out to churches, they're great.
Yeah, for things like that.
For social welfare programs. Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's like no offense to like Christians in general, but your praying is cringe. Like I don't know. It just seems so cringe.
Prayer,
it just seems like I don't know how else to put
That's a clip, dude.
But it's cringe, bro.
Definitely.
It's like I grew up in a Muslim household that's not that religious. But when I did go to the mosque, when I did pray, it actually felt like a spiritual connection.
Oh yeah.
Versus just like, please Jesus, give me this.
No, it's so cool. Like I have my kids leave at like 1:25ish or whatever every day to go pray. Like all the boys go and then all the girls go to a separate room. And we have dedicated rooms at our school for them to go pray and for their afternoon prayers. We don't do it for like the 10 o'clock or like the early because it's the 5 times. But the one that lines up after lunch, we have that one open for the kids, and like
it's very nice.
It's always cool. There's always like the imam or whoever like is running it is like one of the older classmen, like usually a junior or a senior, and they'll be the ones that come around the classroom and I'll collect because I teach freshmen, so they'll always come into my period that I have after lunch is they come collect the freshman boys, and then there's an older girl that comes collect the freshman girls, and then they go pray in their separate rooms. So
and
cool. Again. I've just been talking to these kids a lot. I've just been hanging out with a bunch of Muslim 14-year-olds.
Yeah,
it's
cool. It's cool to learn.
It's super cool to learn.
Learning
is
cool.
Learning
is fun. Cool. All three of us, I think, are relatively like academically inclined or intelligentsia or whatever, and it's just fun to learn stuff.
Absolutely.
Oh, I mean,
you seem to be the most well-read person I've ever met. So
thank you. I put myself squarely in the proletariat, but as far as my enjoyment of learning, just learning cool things about things, there is a world out there to discover, and hopefully one day a better world. But in the meantime, we coexist with a lot of different people with a lot of different traditions, there are cool things to learn. There's cool food from all different cultures, especially from like the Mediterranean region specifically. It's definitely my favorite. But that all goes to say that learning is sick, regardless of rich, poor, bored, busy.
And don't ever think that you can't learn a certain subject just because you don't have a degree in it. I work in a biomedical science field, right? I have a degree in archaeology. Right?
Fuck yeah.
I have a degree in archaeology.
Yeah,
I work in biomedical science, and I am vastly knowledgeable on fucking medicine, right? I have a zero fucking education on medicine, except I'm vastly knowledgeable on it somehow, right?
Well, you've been working on it for how many years? Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you don't need college. College is supposed to set you up.
I support college, but I agree with you. I agree with your sentiment.
What he says is true.
It's like you can be very. 100%. You just have to be very careful who you listen to and how you learn subjects. Right. Be open-minded, but also be educationally open to different narratives. So at the end, you're not brainwashed. Edu-curious. That's what I am.
Is that like bi-curious?
Yeah, that's what I was going for. That's what I was going for.
I was going to be like my new on Twitter is going to be just edu-curious.
Edu-curious. Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing. Is like right now, my newest obsession is Islam, and I've been picking the brains of these like 14-year-old kids, and they're like so happy to talk about it too.
Read about the golden age of Islam.
So I know about like that, like from like my history degrees and stuff. I know that part, but I'm talking about like the actual like 5 pillars and like all of these like
the actual religion,
religion stuff. I'm going deep in, and that's why I'm like reading the Quran. And I just got a notification on Muslim Pro. My app is it's actually Maghrib. It's at 2044, so it's now time to pray. What's it called? The when you take the what's it called? The actual Shahada. Yeah, I'm like as close as you can come without. I'm dipping my toes in without actually jumping into the
That's so funny.
I'm like Muslim adjacent at this point.
Yeah. Do you know what the Shahada says?
Yeah, I know. I've read it, but I'm not going to say it because once you say it, you have to mean it in your heart. Yeah.
No, that doesn't matter. Yeah. Also, you have to be in presence of 2 Muslims.
Oh, that's fair too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in the presence of 1 though, so I'm getting too close.
I guess you could consider me a Muslim.
I guess you are Muslim.
Well,
I still say I'm Muslim. I'm not religious at all.
You're not as religious. Yeah. I mean, it's okay. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm like culturally Muslim.
Yeah, culturally.
Yeah. Well, I've just been having a good time learning about Islam. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Since it's your prayer time. We were supposed to wrap.
We were
up
supposed to wrap this up 20 minutes ago. Yeah, can we get back to that?
We had the outro 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I want to make it clear I'm not praying because I'm not Muslim.
Yes.
But I have the
and
app.
Even if I was going to pray right now, I shouldn't because I just had some alcohol.
You had some alcohol. So
yes.
you're unclean as of right now.
I am unclean. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to wrapping this up. So we had plugged your social. We'll definitely have your links in the description.
The Twitter.
And the Twitter in the description. Yeah. Also, band page. You want
band
stuff
so you can find Kaizo on Instagram at KIZO.NWMC, Northwest Metalcore.
Okay.
And then you can find the American Party of Labor Pacific Northwest Division, as well as our national division at APL.PNW on Instagram and at APL Red Phoenix on both Instagram and Twitter. Red Phoenix is our newspaper name.
Okay. I was going to say.
You guys trots?
No. That's all free. It's all free.
It comes out newspapers.
Yeah, we're not selling newspapers.
You are Hojus.
No. Yeah, we're Hojus. We give them out for free.
Cool. All those links will be in the description. As always, you can follow Revolutionary Rhetoric wherever you get your socials: Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, Discord, Patreon. If you're listening to this on the audio podcast, I'm just going to stare deeply into your eyes. If you're listening to this on the audio podcast, go check us out on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, go check us out on the audio format. We get you wherever you get your podcasts. Wherever your podcasts are sold, that's where you can find us. Leave us a review, comments, share, subscribe. All the links will be in the description. As always, go join some mutual aid organizations. Go join a party and read some Lenin, read some Stalin. Read some Stalin, actually. Don't read Lenin, read Stalin.
Read some Stalin.
Read some Stalin. Read these 2 books in particular. Read
Foundations of
Leninism and Dialectical and Historical Materialism. We actually didn't get to talk about the book, but that's okay.
And Mastering Bolshevism.
And Mastering Bolshevism, which I don't have that copy, but I'm gonna go order that one.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well, as always, guys, thanks so much. Have a great night, and thank you so much, Mira, for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
That was a really amazing conversation.
Night.
This was an unorthodox episode. We had no real flow to this one. It was just all over the place, but it was fun. Yeah,
well, that's what a podcast is for.
Let's do it again, and we can get on a topic next time.
Yeah, well, what we could do is we did a book. Kind of a book report. We read Black Shirts in Red recently, and we had a good discussion about that. So we should read Mastering Bolshevism or something. Let's read a Stalin book and talk about it.
Masturbating Bolshevism.
Okay.
Yeah, I do it every day. Yeah, let's talk about. And that's a good one.
Stalin and his mustache.
Masturbating Bolshevism.
Okay, see you guys.
See ya.